placed in the previous stage. The idea being you're supposed to kind of, I don't want to say root out the weak, but the games in day 2 for next weekend theoretically should be closer because you're putting winners against winners and losers against losers. So you kind of have to determine where everyone sits before you head to those matchups. And that is exactly what we've been doing from both yesterday and today. And we're about to get things all finished off. We're heading to Oregon first between Depth and Oceanus.
Well, Oregon is a game or a map that we've seen. We've seen it in every match so far. We saw it in Windstorm Oblivion.
Right.
They played it in Slaughterhouse PDHM. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It would have been the decider.
It would have been, yeah. We didn't quite get to that one.
It was in the map ban though, right? That counts for something. But Oregon's kind of taken like Cafe's spot. Remember when Cafe came out and everyone was like Cafe? Now it's Oregon. So Cafe falling by the wayside a little bit, but still definitely played a lot in NACL, down in like T3 too. And Maverick will be the first ban. Will we see a repeat Maverick Thatcher?
It's a pretty common one, though. Everyone loves playing Ace on Oregon. The only question is that because it's left on the board or because people just can't stand not playing? That's what I wanted. Yep, I'm gonna stop my sentence right there. Mostly because it again, every single ban that we see on attack no longer relates to anything except hard breach. The days of a Ying ban, oh man, that doesn't even seem like it was all that long ago. But these days, you almost never see anything that isn't hard breach related or reinforced wall related brought out against it. And that also kind of does relate back to the defensive bans as well. Kaid has always been a pretty standard one. Sometimes we see a bandit or a mute, but that's so less common comparative to when we see a Kaid taken out of commission just because of the amount of freedom that you've got with those electric claws that isn't afforded by the stationary gadgets of both a bandit and a mute. So
yeah.
Prophet also is correct without knowing it that the Echo is still an auto ban, and it'll be a clash for Oceanus as their final ban. So I think the clash might be the only one that I'm a little bit confused on, but by the same token, maybe there's something to the game plan of, I believe it's Depth or Oceanus that's decided, yeah, we really don't want to play this.
We did see the clash come out for, I think it was Windstorm. It was Twist that was playing it. I know when Oblation and Favelas played Oregon, there was clash play. Exod somehow just got randomed Glaz. I think he loaded into the lobby late, so he will be the 1 to 6 pick. Right? All right, there we go. On this off. That makes more sense.
I was going to say, yeah.
And Kaid ban obviously makes a lot of sense. Actually, no.
No?
It would have made sense if Maverick Thatcher were the bans, but I mean, it just takes 1 EMP to disable that Electro Claw.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
So, is it interesting that the Kaid is banned? Of course, out of the 3 wall denial operators, he's going to be the one banned. Bandit, you will normally ban. Mute, if you're banning him, it's to counter the intel denial rather than the wall denial. So, I don't know how I feel about Kaid ban. Because as Jammer, I don't know who. Wait, Depth has changed their names. We have Jammer and Regrets instead of. We're missing London and Teejing. So either those are completely different players or they have changed their names.
Actually, going and looking for like a Depth social media account, I wasn't able to distinguish if there were different players, but my assumption is that they're the same guys. Okay, to be fair, we also did have Nice Hacks change his name to Stove in the game that we casted previously. So
true.
If you were going to make a change and you also get signed by an org at the like right at the beginning of a season, I suppose if you were to do it at any point, it would be now. But I guess we can go ahead and call them by these call signs until we get a little more information, maybe by the next map, about whether or not these guys are the same as their Uplay would suggest.
Well, hopefully we can get that cleared up, as OCG have decided to defend the laundry site. That's typical as well. This is an early entry from Toasty, but of course he's met with a castle barricade. Sees the toes for just a second. Can't pull the trigger. Doesn't want to let his early entry known just yet. Just waiting for a pick. Just waiting for someone to stack up on the castle barricade and expose the feet. Everyone from Depth right now stacking up over here. He will open up the castle barricade, and Exod will meet Darkin with a bullet to the face. Wamai goes down, so no more of those magnets to be generated. Another Ash charge going out to, I believe, dispose of an Evil Eye from Nova. so far, Depth have started to establish the laundry control. They've got a man moving down and now controlling Freezer. And this is, I mean, this is the start to a pretty damn good push.
So far, Exod already making a pretty darn big dent in his former team, and the rest of his squad trying to make up for it, but Gooby will grab Toasty right off the rip, and now it comes down to Jammer, the only man. Sorry, no, Prophet is still on that side, but Kibbs will go for the flank, and Prophet has absolutely no idea where the shots are coming from. Exod will grab him on the rotate and grab another one. 4 kills already. Can he find Nova and make it the ace? We might see one of these come on round 1, but Jammer will be the one to take it as Nova will fall on the rotation. 4 kills already for Exod against his old squad, and we start out round 1 with a bang.
Okay. Depth obviously going for a laundry push. They got there very early, and as soon as that castle barricade went down and Exod got his kill, he dispatched and went down Freezer for the flank. For some reason, the Jaeger of, I believe it was Phoenix, decided he was going to wide swing Freezer instead of hold by the locker and try to maybe hold through the wall holes into laundry, and he lost his fight. From there, Kibbs kills the thermite, and then OCG, I guess, forget about Exod? Like what? He kills the Jaeger, Kibbs, like, just walks in there without his gun up, and someone else from OCG lines up in the middle of storage room. And if you're gonna dispatch anyone to flank from tower stairs, you're Maestro? Huh?
It's gonna be one of those games, isn't it? I can already kind of tell.
Lots of big moments from Oceanus' defense, and we'll see if their Dorm's defense makes a little more sense.
If we weren't on broadcast, I know you and I would both probably be bound to express our confusion in much more not PG-13 related manners as a result of what we just saw. Pardon my French indeed. I do like using very colorful words wherever I'm able to fit them in, but at least for the moment, that's kind of just, that's a first round thing. Both Oceanus and Depth have really only been able to play in scrims leading up till this point. They both had somewhat similar rosters. I mean, they both had to make numerous changes ever since they played in Stage 1, so they haven't been able to play a match that's actually for keeps up until this point, so shake off a couple of jitters to start with and make sure your heads are in the game and hope that Oregon doesn't fall by the wayside as you kind of get warmed up.
Yeah, Toasty are gonna make his way inside of the kitchen corridor, looking to find this frag inside of meeting. I believe it's Phoenix on the Jaeger, and he will nearly get caught off guard, but no, Phoenix can't land that one crucial shot he needs. He only needed one more bullet to put down the Ash, but Toasty will persist. So that gun, that utility is still on the board, and Phoenix will decide to fall back into split. He is castled off. If he does make his retreat, they should be painfully aware of it due to the sound cues. The thermite will actually go down on stage, curiously enough. This is a top floor defense, and they're already using half their hard breach on the roam.
Just for the moment, it looks like the attack is not nearly as aggressive as it was last time, but that can still be stalled out given enough pressure from Exod, because the man's already in trophy looking for that attic angle, and I think the Womai might be caught out in a pretty bad spot. He's about to get double pinched. All the flashes in the world clear the utility and also probably full blind the man, but we're not on his perspective, so we can't check it. Exod waiting for the rotation to come out, but they're still trying to flush the Womai out of that position, and so far it hasn't worked just yet. Toasty and Regrets be the two men to move back up, and he'll get his head taken off. I don't even think he saw someone coming from that side. Oh, perspectives abound. Now it'll be traded back out by Gooby as Exod will finally fall, so he doesn't have a chance to make the same impact in this round as he did in the last one, and his 4 kills will have to substand his for the moment. Phoenix will push right back through and grab the kill on Toasty. He's just sitting on the wall in games by himself, and all of a sudden Regrets, wondering where this push and this cover was supposed to come from.
To quote the great Jontron, I don't get it. So Prophet's gonna swing the door and he'll take out Darkin with a headshot. Now it's Jammer and Prophet both linked up in trophy against the 3 of OCG and make that just Jammer on just 20 HP. He's got to fight against Castle and Mute and a Jaeger. Doesn't look like it's gonna happen, and Kibbs just tap firing away will be the one to land the headshot, and Oceanus will take round 2 after what started as a pretty decent attic push got overextended, I guess, is what I would say. And Depth fed the defense picks. And that's kind of all there was to it.
They weren't really able to win their ones, were they? They were trying to to push themselves into
I mean,
positions. And I mean, they got the Wamayan attic, and it was a really good start from that point, and then everything just kind of fell apart without
like
meaning to.
with the way that Ash died, right? And with the way can you really call that a one? She just kind of walked into the doorway and died. I don't know what she was peeking.
And I suppose so. I'm wondering if Exile can get back in here. Oh, there we go. And
Yay!
can he make the switch? Oh, wow. At the very last second, he makes
Yeah,
the
no
switch back
rehost.
in. I mean, hey, Jackal still wouldn't have been a bad option, but that doesn't bring nearly as much utility to bear with only 2 smoke grenades, if that's the way he has Jackal set up. I mean, you should if you're playing Jackal with a Claymore. I hope you're okay. But by the same token, it's 4 grenades to burn on Zofia. So it's oh yeah, I just got reminded that our friend Jasmine plays Jackal with a Claymore, and I fear for the man's comp and casting career.
You literally have it smokes, man.
Love you, Jasmine, but for the love of Christ, you can't do that.
And I think Red Cube wasn't Red Cube complaining about it on Twitter. Because they're trying to reassemble Team Aesthetic.
It would have been a Red Cube
was
links, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, so Jackal Claymore aside, he's not gonna be here. Exile able to make the successful 6-pick to Zofia. Of course, that explosive utility, oh so important, especially because, you know, Smoke has a shield, Wamai is not banned, Maestro is not banned. And we have a little bit of an off pick though. Kibbs onto the Rook. So Doc and Rook have, I believe, seen a significant decrease in pick rate. You know, once the utility meta came around, people were like, hey, what if we combine utility meta with an ACOG on defense? And we were like, wow! And Doc was doing so much work, and then he lost the ACOG. And he was like, nope, you can't have fun anymore. So Rook has kind of taken his place because, I mean, they're not the same operator, but Rook does get it 2 times, whereas Doc is only sub 1.5, so he fares a little bit better when it comes to the long-range engagement. Speaking of, Nova, picking up from White Stars, will take a little bit of damage from Exod, and the attackers have thus pushed all the way into attic, but no! The dry peek from Exod doesn't work out. Phoenix there picks up that kill, but Toasty is quick to the trade. Eye for Zofia is pretty even, but from below, Toasty taking even more damage, trying to push around by this Jaeger. Phoenix gonna be droned out in the wide swing, but he lands it, a double kill on the round for the Jaeger upstairs.
Very, very fast approach vector for depth as they work their way into attic with almost 30 seconds left and say, no, we've got the big tower control that we want. Phoenix will just make sure there's no one else coming from an attic side, but I think Depth's push no longer extends that way. If Regrets wants to move in close, he can, but actually, no, I think that's exactly what's happening. Jammer and Prophet are both going to join on an attic rush, and all of a sudden, the site might be downstairs, but Regrets has said the rest of his team needs to start taking attic control, otherwise it's just not possible to take the site, and to a point they're right, but so far, they don't know where the Jaeger's been positioned, and he's just going to sit there in a punch hole waiting for someone to come through the door. It's still possible, but at least for the moment, if he sees anyone, he's not pulling the trigger, and the wallbang perfectly executed from Prophet.
Wow, Phoenix just got slammed and sent to the moon.
Lights out.
Jesus Christ. All right, Prophet, what a brilliant shot. Now it's 3 versus 3. Prophet, though he takes a lot of damage, so killing it. Looks like the Rook wants to re-engage these attackers upstairs. Land a couple shots onto Regret, and the wide peak yet again works out. This is just the round of wide peaks, as now that top floor coverage is gone. Jammer and Prophet both downstairs trying to make their attack onto the site, but under the watchful eye of Kibbs upstairs. He is low HP, but an engagement like this might be a one-way ordeal. Jammer trying to peek in from the doorway is cut down by Gooby, and his Prophet on barely any HP in a 1v3 with barely any time as well. 25 seconds left on the clock for him to make this happen. He sees one rotate behind the tables in kitchen. He's not fast enough to land a shot. I believe there were pings going out as well, so his position known, and Darkenwood is pre-firing him through the wall. Oceanus with round number 3 thanks to a brilliant top floor roam.
And the roam works out really well. There's also 2 things I think maybe my hard stuck plat 3 brain can probably take into ranked on this map at some point. There's 2 specific holes that you open up, or that were opened up by OCG, just bullet ones that you don't really pay that much attention to until there are bullets being sprayed through it. One of them was actually in the kid's dorm that was looking on that spot. That's the one that Kibbs was watching with the Rook 2x scope, just in case someone wanted to come from the big tower approach and try to go for a plan by default inside kitchen, which is one that you can watch from above, but the one that you can watch from below is the one that's at the crux of the attic doorway that leads into the rest of the top floor, which was being fired at from below, as I think it was either the Nomad of Regrets or it might have been Toasty on the Ash last round, was getting fired at from below, because you open it up and all of a sudden
Toasty.
Yeah, it was Toasty. So when you enter that doorway, you're in the middle of a massive choke point, and there's also no cover. We were wondering, oh, where's it getting shot from? Is it from, you know, all the way back on the big window? Is it from top white? Is there someone sitting in games? Is it coming from trophy? No, it's actually coming from the floor directly below the Ash, and that's how she was taking damage. So even if it doesn't net a kill, it's still, you know, you questioning where the hell you're getting shot from. And at the end of the day, the Ash had 3 different angles that she could have, you know, I think she did fire 3 separate angles, just pre-firing, assuming that that might be where a player's coming from, but she was wrong all 3 times. Yeah, she was going, what, where?
That was pretty funny. I love watching sometimes players just kind of like shoot around in desperation because they got no clue where they're being shot from.
Right.
It was a little bit comical, and Toasty just got wide swung by Phoenix, who was hiding inside Master. So, Laundry is going to be the defense yet again. Now, last time this happened, Depth were inside of Laundry within a minute, and Exod inside of Freezer was tearing it up. 4K for him as the defense, after his first 2 kills, looked like they just kind of forgot about him. He's going for a very similar push so far, starting by Small Tower, making sure there's no roamers upstairs as he follows a drone. Probably make his descent down Freezer very seamless. Now he drones himself in. I really hope Oceanus are reading into this and reading into the fact that Depth are going to go for a very similar push, because that lack of a Freezer hold was definitely detrimental, as Exod will now get pinged by the proximity sensor.
Hopefully Oceanus are within enough range to hear that one go off. And Toasty's got 2 kills, and Regrets is gonna offer some cover. Again, there is no information that specifically states that the Depth player has been down, so Toasty's just gonna have to stun Laundry Stairs by himself for a second and before Regrets can go in for the pickup. But presence is now definitely felt in Laundry from Phoenix, as he'll have to wait a moment before going for another repeat. And Exod just looking around the corner of lockers, and here comes Phoenix again. This fight in Freezer is gonna matter a hell of a lot. Gibbs notices where it comes from, and now he has security control. Nova rotates back downstairs by himself, and all of a sudden, Exod's the lone man in Freezer getting completely flushed out, and Nova just goes for one quick check, and there he goes. Exod's only 4 kills came in the first round, and now he's got 3 straight deaths with no other round impact. And Gibbs alone in security because he shot the Nomad air jab, and he gets the kill onto Regrets.
Nova with another one! He can up the Freezer stairs! Wow, okay, that is a very big brain roam that we can touch on after the action has subsided. But Prophet and Jammer, the famed Thatcher Thermite duo, now very separated, with Jammer going down Freezer and Prophet previously in the laundry room. Jammer pre-firing around, but no, Kibbs still in security! He can go for yet another flank pick, but no, there's a pre-fire going his way, and he will reveal his position. Hit dark to the hash, but Jammer on the push sees the corner of Kibbs' shoulder. The pre-fire doesn't work! Kibbs with a second, he goes for the re-engage with the super shorty, but Prophet is still hugging the laundry stairs. No opportunity for a trade. 1v5 ace clutch scenario with only 40 seconds left. He's full HP, but of course the positioning not in his favor. Nova will go down, the Maestro getting a little bit too antsy, and Kibbs will retake the position at the top of Freezer stairs, likely playing close. Super shorty in there.
Oh, come on.
Shot, one. Oceanus with a beautiful round 4. That flank? What? That was some big brain stuff.
Big brain, but big risk. What are you taking your Maestro all the way up top?
Castle shot the air jab, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna back off. No flank for now. And then Nova comes around the corner. It's like, there's 2? What? And then because the attackers thought the Maestro was the only flanker, the Castle was able to pounce on the guy trying to kill the flank. That was so well put together.
I don't know if, I mean, the thing that Depth has done has been pretty aggressive attacks already through the first 4 rounds. It was faster at the first 2, slowed off in the back 2, but it's almost like we got the intel that we needed from the drones in the prep phase. Now we're just going to go ahead and burst in because we're pretty sure no one's going to be there when we enter the building, and so far they've been right. It's just that whenever someone goes for a really weird rotate, like OCG just did, they're caught completely unawares and don't know how to, properly adapt to it. And you're right, when Castle moves in, he's not spotted. Maestro goes, and he's a 3 armor. He's only a 1 speed, which means he makes a little bit more noise. And that's exactly what Regrets, as the Nomad pounced on, tries to go for that kill. Can't quite get it because Kibbs is sitting at the insecurity at the very top of the staircase and just takes her head clean off. It's very well executed from Oceanus. It's a lack of intel from Depth at the end of the day. but I'm more concerned about how they allowed a Maestro to get up a full floor and then come back down again.
He did that last time too, remember? He was the last one alive going for the laundry stairs flank. And he was the last one alive, I guess, just because he took too long.
So maybe we did not diss Oceanus for having Maestro roaming actually being a thing. We questioned it to start the game, but then we're like, hey, it's working now. Okay, cool, sweet. We'll stop. We'll shut up.
Right? Imagine how good a roamer would be if they were like a 2-speed with the Alda. Like you could just play off-site.
Ubisoft, don't listen to this man. It's not something that needs to be added in the game.
Put the ACOG back on it. Give it to Jaeger.
Oh dear God, hide your kids. I don't want them to play this game if that becomes a thing. Speaking of which, you see how fast Depth moved into the building already? Like they've already got like backstairs plus pillar control, and Oceanus, they seem pretty set up for it, but there's already a lot of control assumed by Depth with almost no real resistance from OCG. It's interesting.
So yeah, it seems like Depth are employing the well-placed drones strategy of putting down really well-placed drones and then acting off that intel, getting the building fast, but where they struggle is the mid-round droning. Seems like on a lot of these pushes, both on all 3 of the rounds Oceanus has won, there's a little bit of a lack of intel. It's like they kind of put their drones down in prep phase and they're like, wait, we have drones in the action phase? They just kind of play off whatever intel, they can give their teammates. So already it's a minute 30 off the clock. They've got the attic wall open, and that is unfortunate. The EMP will get EMP will get EMP'd. EMP will get ADS'd. Exod takes the head off of one, and Phoenix and Exod will immediately trade, but still an advantage in the favor of Depth.
For the moment, Nova's just going to sit tight in the corner, and he got flushed out of here because he was just holding it solo with almost no utility in hand, and he knows one to his immediate right. He does at the last second, and the window vault's not utilized, but the peak comes through, and even that only takes him down to about half HP. Pretzel will be the one to move it and try to stall someone back out of there, but he's still sitting in the bottom of attic, and now it's all on Darken in a 2v1, and he's got more than a minute left with which he needs to stall, and across the map, there's Jammer with the final kill. It doesn't even have diffuser control. It doesn't matter. It's a Depth round. At the end of the day, they go up and try to stop this deficit a little bit. It's 3-2, but they're able to claw it back in a pretty respectable fashion.
Pretty decent entry from Exod too. I'm not sure where it was from. I assume it was over towards like Trophy or whatever, where he usually pushes. He gets one, trades with Phoenix. I mean, that's already a 2-for-1 trade. Yes, Phoenix does his, or not Phoenix. Who was it? Inside of attic, was it Nova?
It was Nova on the Womai,
yeah. Nova gets one. I mean, yeah, it's great, right? He gets one. He's controlling attic. Misses the thermite. If he killed the thermite there, I think that could have definitely been a round win. Unfortunately, he was just aiming too high.
Attackers need to
Dies in the process. The Nomad, because it's a 2-on-1, dispatches herself, goes over towards the I think the highway window to hop in, and they pinch the last player of the Valkyrie. So Oceanus dropping their dorms defense. They're now 1-1 on both dorms and laundry, and they'll opt to go to
located a bomb.
dining yet again. Dining they took because of a brilliant top floor roam. My eyes are definitely going to be on Depth to hopefully drone that out a little bit.
Their drone game is strong, but only up until they start getting into some actual engagements, because hey, you can put a drone somewhere, but if there's no one on it to double check and you're starting to make your push inside and you can't react appropriately, then it makes it infinitely harder for a very fast approach to be worthwhile. Oceanus are looking for that 4-2 defensive split based on the nature of the round. This is Depth's pick at the end of the day, and it's one that they can capitalize on, but if they're able to make this a 3-3, then it means the pressure is even more on OCG to try to pull something out of the bag. I don't know if it's something that has really sunk in yet because it's only the first map, but if you're making these aggressive plays, this is something that OCG needs to recognize will probably be a thing even heading to Villa for map 2, and if we require it, Cafe for map 3. And this is already a very Smash Mouth heavy play style. It's not something that we've seen from other teams come out in the the past couple of games that you and I have either casted or have been played over the course of even USCL. It hasn't been nearly this brutal, but OCG are doing a pretty good job adapting to that kind of speed and depth. So far, it's 2 rounds to show for it off the backs of that strategy.
Did you say Smash Mouth?
If you start singing All-Star right now, I swear.
Somebody! But
get me out!
Say,
let me leave! Mason, I'm sorry!
This
I gotta
wasn't
say,
worth it!
Nova, every time I see Nova OCG, I'm like, oh, did he leave Cloud9? And I have to remember that they're two completely different people.
Oh my
And that is unfortunate for Kibbs. He'll get caught off guard. His elbow, I guess, spotted by Toasty. And that's one of the big portions of why that upstairs room worked. Now gone. Gooby and Phoenix also dispatched them. Sure, there's a trade, but all of a sudden it's just Nova in the 1v4. He's done great in the Korea region, but he can't do anything in Canada here as he's shut down by Regret's Depth with round 6, and this is a 3-3 half on Oregon. Depth looking pretty good going into the second half.
Yeah, they picked this one for a reason, and you don't just pick a map, or hopefully you don't just pick a map because you understand how to play it on defense. It's one of the ones you've got in your rotation that you're able to move between attack and defense in pretty equal spades, and this is really, really good. I'm not about to jinx it and say, oh, hey, we actually might need a decider game if it's this close on the first map. It's obviously way too early to tell by that point, but it's already one of the closer first maps that we've seen because it's been very streak heavy. It's not just a Canadian thing. It's not just, a US division thing. It's definitely an NAL, not problem, but just pattern. You usually have one team win a series of rounds, maybe only dropping one here or there, but not nearly as back and forth of a contest as we see between these two at the moment. It's always, oh, Depth might win a streak of rounds, and then OCG might do the same thing when they switch. It's always like one side of the attacker/defender pool will dominate the other for the entirety of the game, and then whether it goes to overtime or it just kind of ends with one team just winning outright is more of a different story. Depth can definitely turn this into their win, and to win their map and then go on to Villa, that's definitely what they're looking for.
They'll head to dorms first. They're bringing out the Bandit. Bandit, not an operator we saw from Oceanus, though Oceanus are bringing literally the exact same attacker lineup. Let's go!
Yay!
Prophet is running the FMG9. That hurts my eyes. I guess they do have the shotgun on the mute, so it's whatever. They have that for prep. I wonder what Prophet's going to be holding, because usually the reason why you take smoke and you have him hold attic if you don't have a Lamai is because hold the corner tight, SMG-11, and then from that range, shotgun's usually a one-shot kill. The FMG-9, it's just not the greatest gun in the world, but I don't know.
It really does depend on where Prophet opts to sit or where Depth have decided to place him. I wonder if we can get to a point where we can see who is covering attic, if that's the way OCG want to take these things, and at least for the moment, it seems to be the kind of pressure that they're trying to clear out. Okay, Jammer's by himself with that MP5K sitting in attic, and I think he has at least one ADS, if not one or two, but my distance, he just continued to generate those as time goes on. Toasty cannot stop the attic wall from getting dropped down, but Regrets will find Nova, so there's at least that consolation, and he's got one battery in his back pocket, so at the very least make sure that no one can vault over the shield if it's not taken down by the multitude of projectiles that are getting chucked into this part of the map. There goes the shield. All of a sudden, the battery has been wasted. My dude, why'd you have one in your back pocket still?
Oh, he's ADS tricking. Unfortunately, all it did was catch more flashbangs. I mean, because there's no nades on the attack, so that's kind of the only thing there is to catch. But at least they're able to dispatch of the shield, and they still got a minute 30 remaining. You can see the attacker starting to peel off of attic now that they know they have that control. Phoenix will be left and tasked with holding this flank. That guy over towards the left is now behind the shelf. He throned under that little lip at the edge of the attic, so I'm not sure if the Ash is quite aware that he's switched position. And where you're aiming on, what side of the doorway you're aiming on when someone peeks can definitely be an influencing factor when it comes to a 1v1. Looks like it's Exod. No, Toasty's the one in that corner. Exod and Toasty holding a crossfire. There shouldn't really be any way Oceanus gets out of this alive, especially if Phoenix just solo pushes. He's going to need help to clear these guys out. Darken is prepped over towards the trophy side as well. I don't think the wall behind Toasty is... Oh. No, it's hard. There's really nothing that Thatcher is going to be able to do. Here comes the duo push down into attic. Kibbs gets one because the Jaeger wide swings, and there's an even trade. That in no world should have been as such, but Prophet will get the frag on Darken inside of Trophy, and Depth will retain the advantage. Smoke's going out as well just to delay that attic push even longer. Phoenix currently choked off from the rest of his team. Gooby, the only man currently on the other side of the bomb site. They'll try to have to make this split push work. really not much semblance of a trade at all. Oh, we'll take a little bit of damage from Regrets, but Regrets distracted, goes down. There's another one for Phoenix. He's downed. It's all Jammer, but he finds the frag on one. Can he find Gooby? He's got no denial. He's got to let the fight go down. Gooby will lift off, distracted by the downed player, and Jammer swings in from the attic doorway. Gooby goes down, and Depth take round 7.
How has this bomb site basically become take attic and you win the whole thing? Like 9 times out of 10, if you've got firm attic control and you clear as much utility and as many players as you did from that position, then it's basically a free round for the defense. But sorry, a free round for the attack, not a free round for the defense. That's kind of how that works. And that's exactly what happened. 2 players, even with a double ADS juggle sitting inside attic, both the Bandit and the Jaeger are not able to stave off the Nomad Ash double push. And there's so many trades happening just in that one section of the map that even Wamai had to get in on the action and rotate to bottom attic to get the final kill onto the game's table. Every single kill has got to link back to that part of the site in some way. In Depth, it requires a clutch, almost a clutch, 1 versus 1 situation. They will win this one, start on their defensive rotation in a much smoother fashion, and already head downstairs to laundry.
Nope. Normal rotation so far, no offsite just yet. Definitely interesting to see how Depth hold the site differently in Oceanus if they put as much stock in the top. But now, it's downstairs. Depth looking like they're holding it pretty default. Oceanus's defense, you could tell they were kind of setting up for that top floor flank. Top floor kind of retake, or no, not top floor, middle floor kind of retake strategy. It looks like Depth are setting up pretty standard. Bandit batteries, you know, the blue wall open, Wamai playing inside of blue with a reverse shield for some reason. You know, I've never really understood why teams use their like a reverse shield.
I've been told it's because it's easier to see through the slits.
Oh, is it?
I'm not really able to back that up, and if for some reason I'm getting that one wrong, I have plenty of competitive player friends that'll probably yell at me and say, hey, that's not what
like
it's for.
Like, oh, in chat.
Our homie Japanadian, who used to play for OCG and is now unemployed.
Japanadian.
I shouldn't say that. He's not unemployed. He just doesn't have a job with OCG anymore, which I know he's still in the back corner rooting for, at the very least, Phoenix. Another guy who carries me in ranked stacks. Hi, Phoenix. Really appreciate you. But not bias caster. This is one of those situations where I have to put that all aside and just say, yeah, we'll deal with this in Discord later.
Yeah, we know the OCG guys, so we hope they lose. That's how anti-caster bias works, right?
All right.
Yeah. Here's Phoenix coming down the freezer stairs, looking for more picks. He had a really good round last round that just kind of got thrown away by a little bit of a disjointed push. It was a great pick. That is as soon as that angle came out, everyone started to expect it and kind of pre-aim it. He will get 1 pick off it, but there's Phoenix for his 2nd and his 3rd. How are people just feeding him? They're just peeking the freezer wall. What are they doing? Gives him another one on a Toasty, and just like that, because of one guy in freezer, this entire hold is falling apart. It's Exxon in a 1v4. He downs Nova, but it's the zone. She can pick herself back up, but she won't even need to. Gooby swings the open wall, and Oceanus take round 8 in record fashion.
All right, I'm speechless. All right,
just as we were talking about Phoenix.
I was gonna say the man pops up. What, 2, if not 3?
3.
Yep. 3 in total. Okay. All right. So it's at the very least, it's a double prong push. 1 coming down laundry side, and at the very least 2 are in freezer, and somehow the freezer cross with the way the holes are positioned in the wall are giving all of the real estate necessary for Phoenix Scope to punch through and grab a couple of frags, and that was kind of it. You didn't really have it wasn't a heavy focus on objective play. It's just, let's get pressure from one side, storm down the other, and then just grab frags, because that's where most of them originated from. And everyone on the defense was still pretty keen to peek freezer as soon as they realized, wait, we're out of position. And Oceanus take full advantage of Depth just kind of being a little bit off kilter. I mean, that entire round finished, and we still had 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. That's one of the faster ones that we've had, and we're talking about Depth being a super fast, aggressive team to start with. OCG are showing that they can do the exact same thing.
Yeah, especially, 1 minute 20 left on a laundry defense. They just went down freezer and they fed Phoenix. I mean, that's kind of all that round came down to. They decided they were going to feed Phoenix, and Phoenix said yes.
Bomb located by attackers.
Enter freezer, feed Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to try to follow up with something, but
5 seconds left.
felt like
it was really, really funny because it came out of nowhere earlier when you're like, kickstart. But ever since then, I'm just like,
it's true.
No, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying that was the one that was really funny because I wasn't expecting you to do it on cast. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right.
You kidding me? I'm gonna monkey out on casting T2 as much as I can. It's the only
Might as
freedom
well.
I get. I'm gonna go until Crater starts yelling at me. He hasn't yelled at me yet. Good sign. But OCG.
That's a lie. We yell at Crow all the time off broadcast. Don't listen to this man.
OCG.
Look, I'm not an abusive dad. Just keep doing it, son.
You're only a year older than me. Why do you
keep going, son? Are you winning yet?
Phoenix is gonna take. Crater doesn't like the fact that I'm 20, but I look like I'm 13. But Phoenix is gonna take a lot of damage from that run out, from Regrets not expecting it, and Nova trying to pick up the slack gets tagged up by Prophet. The dual SAS duo inside of Blue Bunker will deal pretty much a whole player's worth of damage to the attack of Oceanus as they have swapped to more of a default push. No freezer rush today. Exod though is down, not finished off. Not just yet. The damage, I guess, made up for so far. I don't know if he's recoverable, but the wide swing fails from Nova. Regrets with a great headshot. So far, things in favor of Oceanus as Toasty's cutting off the stairs as well. Finally, a trade from Darken and Phoenix finishing off Toasty. Exod's still down, so things now have turned.
Prophet's still rocking the FMG, and he'll sit back behind the shield waiting for that bunker push, and Phoenix will still continue. That's his 11th kill. This man does not stop on the Ash. He's definitely trying to make it worth his while, and it's now a 2 versus 3 situation. Jammer will equalize, and Phoenix will get taken out of commission, but now it's all down to Jammer and Prophet, both on the same side, but so are both the attacking members. OCG not expecting to swing his Gooby, as Jammer will go right back into E-Box and nab the frag, and now Darken, less than half HP, doesn't have Diffuser in hand, but still has time, and Jammer is definitely worse for wear. Just sitting outside bunker, seeing if he can't maybe force him out of E-Box, as that's still where Jammer is situated right back behind the wall. Has eyes on Diffuser, so he doesn't have any reason to move. He'll just wait and see if Darken's not watching, and that's exactly what he does. Jammer, a multi-kill that completely stalls OCG's momentum on bunker. And the second time that Death goes for Laundry, it's a pretty effective defense.
Yeah, wow. Jammer with a 3K just walking in E-Box and killing everyone. You can tell Oceanus were not ready to deal with an aggressive pushback from the defense. They probably figured, okay, the 3 versus 2, we've taken Blue Bunker. They'll probably try to turtle up and just stall us and pillar in inside a bunker for as long as possible. But no, Jammer said, you know what? Screw that. That's wimp stuff. We're just going to push you. He got 3 kills off of it. So great job by him. Great job to seize the opportunity that OCG did not expect. So now Depth in the advantage over the previous 3rd place team, and they'll try again on Dorms. They did win this site last time. It's now opened up because Oceanus, though, having a decent attic push, everything kind of fell apart after they took attic. The trophy push was slapped down.
Jammer's the first member on Death to also cross the 10 kill threshold, and Phoenix did it in the last round with Kibbs not too far behind him. It's interesting that, I mean, Oceanus kind of seemed like they're relying more on the frags to come from a couple of different players, and Darken down at the bottom of the scoreboard isn't having to worry about it as much, whereas for the rest of Depth, it's a little bit more spread out. And I think you're still, yeah, I'm looking at it. Jammer's got 10 and 4. That's, okay, I was looking to see who had the best KD ratio of anyone here. That's most assuredly Jammer at the 10-4 kill ratio. That's not bad. And I think he's probably going to end up just sticking the Wamai with the MP5K the whole time, trying to make the case that for those who are members of the AUG fan club on Wamai, maybe it's worth it to convert you to something different. I know I'm an SMG fan, but I mean, the only reason I like the AUG too, but I also like SMGs, so whenever I see someone play the MP5K, I'm always torn up about it.
I like the... But Jammer, 10 and 4 right now. That is a 2.5 AV. Great job from Phoenix. Not quite a 2.0, just under that. I don't remember what 1/6 is, but he just hit Nova? I don't know if he hit Nova, or if
Nova was on the cross.
Through the wall.
I'm 90% certain Phoenix did a little team damage there.
That doesn't look like it's enough damage from the R4C though. So
I mean, it might have just been a shot in
leg?
the arm. I know. Yeah. I mean, he was crossing right at that moment. It has to be. But if Regrets is able to just finish him off, if that's the case, Phoenix has kind of softened Nova up for one of those frags, and he's already about 80 HP. So might as well just kind of go for it. That's where the pressure is. Diffuser gets dropped, presumably because Gooby is the one now dead, and that's your only hard breacher off the board, so you got to go back, cover that, and regroup. But Regrets pushes right back up tower, and all of a sudden Phoenix is gone. So Depth are making a pretty good case in this round that they should be the ones to take dorms again, but that's because there hasn't been any pressure on dorms proper. Yeah, the wall's been opened up, so this Scooby's death wasn't for naught, but it still means Oceanus are in a pretty hard spot and might need to rotate off an attic push altogether at this stage.
Yeah, they don't really have enough manpower to not only keep pushing through attic, but also take through games as well. Not to mention they have no more hard breach. I mean, that was their only exothermic charge, so they can't even open up the game's wall. And things looking pretty good for Depth as they have just pretty much locked off this push. I don't know if Oceanus are going to double down or if they're going to diverge. It looks like they're still kind of over an attic with just one guy over towards the big window. Never mind, that one guy by the big window is dead. Jammer will finally get his head ripped off, so for now, his reign of terror is over, but Nova certainly took a beating for it. He and Darken are the only two left, and Darken will break the window, basically telegraphing where the push is now going to come, as they'll both regroup towards the big window side of the building. Gas cannons are coming out to stall out Darken on white stairs, as Nova provides overwatch from the big window. He will let regret cost, though. That was weird. Let regrets cost. There we go. Darken takes damage from inside of Games, and there's a swing from the shock and the shutdown. Darken, it's Nova on barely any HP against several players. Now 3 as he takes out regrets, but still about maybe 10 HP, 20 seconds left in a 1v3. This round is pretty much over.
Yeah, at least for the moment. You were kind of hoping that OCG might be able to make a comeback, and if we were sitting at
10 seconds remaining.
Wait, I it's just like, well, I guess I'm out, so I can't do anything with it, but it's still fun. Well, Depth now sit on map point on their pick. Something that you definitely want when you're heading into round 2. You keep that confidence and momentum streak up, and you also have the knowledge in hand that you picked the right map and you won it. Now you're heading into map 2 with a considerable advantage, and OCG still kind of on the back foot. It's not a bad performance from OCG, even though we've seen games have a 7-4 scoreline, and we've called it more dominating. Like, I want to say one of the ones that we had earlier was a game that was of the same score. Yeah, it actually was. It was the game between Slaughterhouse and PDHM, where PDHM have a great streak on a Villa attack, and then Slaughterhouse come back, and we're like, oh, can they still do something? But we still, like, lauded over PDHM as being really dominant in that game. I don't really get the same vibe from this one. If Depth were to win here, I still think OCG played a pretty darn good game in spite of not being able to take the map. It doesn't carry the same sting of defeat with it as it would from, you know, something like a 7-1, which is kind of what that last Slaughterhouse PDHM game had. This one doesn't carry the same effect.
Although every loss kind of stings, because any loss will take you out of EL contention.
It's very true.
Very unfortunate. By the way, I know we shouted out Japanese before. It's only right that I have a shout out of my own. Hypers, currently in chat, one of my favorite Frenchies to cast down in T3. You remember when I always used to tell you about Louise?
10 seconds
left. How nutty Louise is? Hypers was one of the very first players that I saw go toe-to-toe with Louise.
5 seconds.
Wow.
At every turn. So Hypers, congrats on making CAPL, buddy. I always knew you could do it. Always one of my favorite players to cast. It's very sad that you had to skip over me, just like Eska. But, very happy.
You really don't want to cross Crow when he's talking about his Eska players. I know, but now's not the time for it. You know why? Because Darken's
Darken
dead.
got spawn peaked,
and we didn't talk about it. Well, okay,
that's
so
Thatcher dead.
That's Thatcher. Gooby all of a sudden is the only person who can have any effect on those walls, and life is just made infinitely harder. But we're also heading to kitchen and dining for right now. Looking to maybe see if they can take Big Tower, which they've got firm control over. Jammer continues to find frags no matter where he is, and all of a sudden now it's Prophet. The door gets open, goes for the pick, but he'll have to rotate back to meeting as his plan is ineffective. Prophet is now the only man who's able to stop a push like that, but Phoenix will still try to apply pressure. The wall on top of Attic gets opened up once the Jammer's been destroyed, I believe. Or no, that's after the bandit batteries have been cleared off of it. There's not a mute in play. Phoenix is now rotated back outside, just watching an angle from the hallway in case someone wants to work his way towards the rest of Big Tower. I think Oceanus has pretty promptly telegraphed their positions at this stage because there's still a Malusi. Actually, no, the Malusi's been down inside, meaning Gooby wins the fight. He just doesn't quite know it yet.
Well, hasn't been actually finished off, but Regrets will finish off Gooby. Downed player finally confirmed by Phoenix for his 12th kill. Still a 2 versus 4 because Jammer is on an absolute heater. currently just jamming up the attack. Where he goes.
Oh,
Not
boy.
sure where he is now, but Regrets is over towards the meeting hallway. He'll take a little bit of damage from the AK of Kibbs, but it's not enough to really, do anything to him. And just on the laundry stairs, unfortunate Kibbs not aiming in the correct place to land the headshot, so he'll go down. Phoenix in a 1 versus 4. I mean, just judging by the score lines on all the players on Oceanus, if there's any player who's gonna do it, it's Phoenix! And there we go! A triple kill, as now it's a 1 versus 2 with a whole minute left. This round just went from impossible to perhaps doable. He'll send out a drone just to scout ahead of him, as he is the only member remaining, and he'll have to self-drone everywhere. He sees that both of the last remaining players are indeed inside the site, but OMI covering the drone hole will nab the flashbang for now. Phoenix rotating around towards the hallway, towards security, but a pre-fire reveal his location, and he's likely going for the dining room door. Fortunately, Regrets will miss some shots, regrettably, but it's not the end of the world. He's still behind the overturned tables, and that can provide a lot of cover. Fortunately, with the position that Phoenix is currently taking, he could be cut down by a pre-fire. Camera moves up on the doorway. Right now, pre-fire is going out, and there we go. There's one, but no! Regrets cuts him down and shuts down the ace clutch for the map win. Depth, though, it went from a 1v5 to a 1v1 very quickly. Still are able to take it, and a win's a win. Oregon goes their way, 7-4.
Yeah, and this one doesn't carry a whole bunch of sting because we know we got Villa next on deck, and that's going to be OCG's map choice. Hoping that they're able to turn the tables from that Oregon result, and it's not the end of the world for them. Depth still, though, a team that was in 7th place back when they were still under a different name. Now, at this stage, you're already proving that their roster changes and the way that they now carry themselves is considerably different from what it was in the previous stage. It's a very, very good showing. Still only one map, and again, the stakes are don't lose a series, because if you do, you can't get back into CL relegation opportunities at all. So congratulations to them for at least getting some stuff figured out from stages 1 to 2, but Villa is still going to be the penultimate map, because if we follow trend, deciders are a thing that just don't exist in this league right now.
Yeah, definitely a commendable performance and a commendable turnaround from Depth, coming from 7th place to beating the 3rd place team, albeit on their own map. So things aren't over quite yet. I mean, 13-6 for Jammer, over a 2.0 KD, 10-9 for Exod. Unfortunately, the 15-8 scoreline for Phoenix wasn't enough to carry his team. I really thought he was gonna get that clutch when he landed the shot on Wamai.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, he's not through the door just yet. The last 2 defenders definitely coordinated that very well. They knew that Kibbs is a very good shot, and if they took those individual 1v1s, there is a high chance of losing, so they timed their peak. That was just really well done to clean up, and we want to take a look at the replays. There's Exod's 4K that, there you go. Exod just got ignored. I don't know how that happened, but I guess, Phoenix did the same thing in Freezers.
I was going to say, and then at some stage, the rest of OCG, they're still making really good plays on defense. The fact that that was a 3-3 half almost kind of felt like it was robbing us of a much longer game, something that could have gone to overtime. If they're just able to clean up 1 to 2 small mistakes on those rounds that they lose on attack, then we probably could be looking at a much longer contest. It just has to finish that one off with a shorty. Anytime someone gets a kill with that shotgun, I laugh, because I'm like, I remember when I used to hate that thing. That thing used to suck.
At least it's not getting killed by Mira's secondary shot.
Oh my god!
That thing, you have to be like close enough to kiss them. To kill someone with.
Imagine the audacity of somebody bringing the ITA shotgun as opposed to
as a
primary for either Jackal or Mira. You'd think, oh, that's like the most disgraceful thing you can get killed by.
I was on my Smurf and I saw someone, a newcomer, bringing the shotgun pistol.
Okay, but that's the newcomer player. That's also, are you admitting to smurfing?
Yeah. I have 2. I have 3 accounts.
So unashamedly.
Yeah, I have Crowdupra, I have Bruh Imagine, and I have Alright Nice. You beat ban me. You want?
Just be able to go back and buy accounts with the money that we're getting from doing this cast. Feels really good. Appreciate the Ubisoft. Anyway, we still have one more map that we have to go through and play. I do want to see Cafe, admittedly, because I don't think that OCG going out in 2 maps is a good representation of where they were from last stage, and if it is, it's a sign that they've fallen on pretty hard times. I mean, their roster still does work together pretty well, but I think Cafe would be a much better place to decide this whole thing rather than just losing out straight on Villa. We'll get that question answered when we come back from a break. Map 2 Villa is up next. It might be our last map. We'll find out pretty shortly. Don't go anywhere. hello again, friends. We might only be here for one more map, but it's still really good to see everybody back, and we just might be about to wrap up our first play day of the Canadian Challenger League for Stage 2 with this map right here. We're currently 1-0 with Depth having a lead over Oceanus Gaming. We're about to head straight into Villa right off the rep. Again, I'm Caliber Jacob, he is Crow. Do we get a decider, or do OCG win Villa? Is currently the question of the night.
No, it was a... Alright. 7-4 is not awful, right? Like you're saying, it's not a 7-1, it's not a 7-2, it's not a scoreline that makes me say, wow, they're lost. Oceanus still had a pretty decent fight, and we are heading on to their map pick, and it is another defender-sided map, although they are not starting defense. First, it's going to be Depth. Depth's attacks were kind of solid on Oregon, though, so I kind of fear for Oceanus. I think if Oceanus don't tie the half here, Depth are definitely in a really good position.
Yeah, I think that's also true. And the thing that we've done for every team in the Canadian CL division, because we're still trying to get used to how these teams operate, has been, can we take their map 1 performance into account when we head into map 2? Yes, different battleground. Yes, sides are typically always different from the start of that game. But we have a 3-3 half to look at, and then Depth just kind of ran away with it on defense on a defender-sided map that was their choice. It's not necessarily that, oh, we thrive on maps that are, that lean in this direction or the other, because to be totally honest, there are really only 2 maps in the pool that are attacker-sided. Everything else is a map that we see more often than that. We don't see Coastline or Consulate played out nearly as much as we see maps like Oregon, or in this case, Villa, because we've seen a whole bunch of that over the course of the past 2 days, not just in the Canadian division either. Same 2 bans on the start of the ban phase in the Ace and the Thatcher. I would estimate the bans will be pretty similar on the defense. We saw a Mira Valk combo in the PDHM game, but ooh, is that a target ban? That was run a lot against Depth in the last game, wasn't Malusi?
Was it with both teams? I'm pretty sure
I think
we saw
it was.
Exod on it too, I think. So, Malusi maybe just having more of an impact on Villa than on Oregon, or maybe it's just not fitting in with the team strats, and Depth will ban Maestro.
Maestro.
Okay, so slightly different bans. Defender bans completely different. Ace still kept constant, but instead of Maverick, we have Thatcher off the board. 2 bulletproof gadget ops. I like it. Yeah. And Echo's not in play, so that's cool. So all you really got to deal with now is Wamai and Goyo. It's just, not having to deal with Evil Eyes and not having to deal with Banshees just makes it a little bit less of a headache.
Yeah, it's also a case where I almost kind of don't want Echo to come back, as it's an op that I get why it has such a massive impact, but to see Siege that isn't potentially going to be interrupted by one really well placed yokai drone, and the player who's on Echo just kind of sitting back in a corner waiting for someone to go for a diffuser. Honestly, it's kind of refreshing. It means that we actually get to see,
Attackers need to locate,
if not more aggressive Siege. Yeah, we're going to say we get to see gunfights and not one member of the attacking team running around trying to figure out, where did the Echo go? Hey, I can't plan until the yokai.
It's funny because it totally fits with his lore too, of him just like wanting to lie down and be lazy.
Lie down and be lazy.
He just kind of sits in the back of the corner and
he's being efficient, but he's one of the most lethargic efficient men like I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Even the way he talks, like his voice lines in game.
He does sound very lackadaisical, doesn't he? He's very, very laid back and doesn't. I wonder if his entire character bio doesn't take the game too seriously. Therefore, it's not being played currently in a very serious competitive format. So to that we say good riddance. And so far, it's not something that we've had to see in play, and we can see those defense bans go to something different. The Maestro, oh man, on Villa, that's such a powerful op to lose. Yeah. Even though Maestro hasn't had nearly the same pick/ban rate ever since losing the ACOG on the Alda, it really is still surprising to see how often it gets played.
And the position that he would normally be playing on the side of Depth is probably why Prof picked up the Legion, right? The normal team comp is probably Wamai, Bandit, Jaeger, Kaid, Maestro. That's a pretty damn solid team comp. Maybe, put maybe a Smoke in place of either the Bandit or the Kaid, or maybe in place of the Legion or whatever. But, if they need to fill that last spot, and there's nothing else that they feel like they need, Legion is kind of like one of those Why not? Operators, right? Like, he's fun to play.
Eh.
He's got decent utility. He's got a good gun. He's got impacts. Why not? He's really got no disadvantage to him. So we'll see if Prophet able to do anything with that, as Oceanus are mounting the standard Master Sight.
That, or it's just really, really wanting to still play an operator with the T5 since Malusi's been banned out. You know, you just get really, really attached to one weapon, and because we're seeing a whole bunch of them get reused these days. Oh my gosh, it's better than the one on Malusi then. Really want to see that one get taken out all the time, but it's not an operator that you ban anymore. Is Legion? That's something that you used to see a little while ago, but these days it's not nearly that much of a nuisance that you have to consider taking out straight off the gate. Phoenix will look for something at the top of 90, but Darken by himself, yep, there's the Legion. That's exactly the reason you pick it. It's just a couple of seconds it takes to pull the needle out of the leg that makes all the difference in the world in terms of stalling out these attacks.
Regrets for the first kill on the Gooby, though. That's your hard breacher dead. That's a great pick. Fauna off the board, and now a disadvantage for Oceanus. Only a minute left, and they haven't really made much headway except mull around towards the top of the red landing. Exxon and Toasty have taken a little bit of damage, but it's nothing for them to fret about just yet. Nova armed with the G8 looking to push through the aviator doorway. He'll instead try and watch flank, but as he darts away, Exxon finds 2 kills, in fact, before he's air jabbed. An absolutely insane play from Exxon, shutting down the push completely.
Oh, dude, Darken still manages to find that 1 kill, and Nova cleans up the Exxon. The only issue is it's a 2 versus 3, and Nova's not got a lot of HP still left in the tank. The one flanking down Classical Hall, Darken finds his 2nd kill. He's lighting up. He didn't have that many frags in the last game, but now he's on the sledge and can get a little bit more aggressive, and Nova probably needed to pick up the slack, but he'll still find a kill. There goes Jammer, and now Prophet. We talked about the Legion being effectual earlier, but Diffuser still not in play. Prophet's on a really long flank. I don't know if someone's watching the 90 corridor. He can have an easy 2-piece if they're not careful, but they have to go for Diffuser. Oceanus needs to start moving, or they're just going for the kill onto Prophet. At the moment, he has no idea about the flank, and right now it comes back around. Prophet, easy 2K at the dying second of the round, and all of a sudden, we no longer have to question whether this T5 pick was good or not.
Wow, Prophet with a brilliant flank at the end. Things were going well for Depth. They had the opening picks, but Oceanus just... Depth peeked into them, right? Oh, nice skull you got there. Ooh. But, right, because Depth didn't necessarily have to. They just kind of fed into OCG, who were holding static angles. But Prophet, just no pre-placed drone, no air jab to protect the 90 players either, which was definitely interesting. And an easy flank for Prophet, because not only does he pick up 1 kill, but he picks up the full HP kill. Nova's only 1 shot from death, and even then, the G8's not really going to help you in that situation when you're peeking into a pre-fire.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Oh, so Depth. Really good round 1, thanks to Prophet. They'll move on to Trophy.
Go from Aviator to the other top floor bomb sites. Standard fare already, even though I'm going to keep on harping on what Villa has kind of turned into in the overall map selection meta, just in terms of how complex of a map it can get. We talked a lot about Theme Park being really big and super complex and detailed and having a whole bunch of rooms in it. I almost feel like the way that Theme Park was remodeled was kind of after Villa in a sense. There aren't that many long angles on it, but the ones that do exist all of a sudden become these really, really pivotal to lockdown choke points that can decide whether a round is won or lost. And even when it doesn't come to a long hallway, there is still a whole bunch of nooks and crannies that you can hide in if you're the defending team and try to stall out as much time as possible. That also goes back to the idea that it's kind of 4 mini maps all kind of wrapped up into one map. It's genuinely becoming, I think, one of the better maps that we have in the competitive pool, and I still laugh at that because there was a time when I absolutely hated watching this one be played because I just didn't understand how it works. But 2 years later, I think teams are really beginning to figure it out.
Yeah, Villa's slowly kind of slipping into a even map, I'd say. Not quite her favorite yet. I think the stat last season was like, it was like 59%, I think, actually in favor of the attack. So I don't know, we'll see. OCG so far though dropping the first round, as they will yet again go for an opposite side take, sledging beneath Phoenix to drop in towards the bottom floor and prepare the Ash for maybe an Astro flank. So far through the wall, he's getting pings, but he can't yet land the shots. There's Prophet landing a shot of his own. Goodbye Nova, armed with a different 1.5 times. He'll get a good night in chat. It's a brilliant first frag out of the IQ.
So So far, Jam will just decide to stick back behind Statue, waiting for the push from landing, and the drones are there. OCG have had a pretty good handle on their intel game, but Exxon continues to punish them for it. Phoenix, 2 quick kills. The one on Toasty is the flick that we were looking for. 3 versus 3 now with over half the round left to go, and Phoenix is trying to make as much of an impact as he can. I was almost like, wait, why is Sledge dropping the hatch underneath the... Okay, but it's all about positioning. Phoenix is in the perfect spot for it, and now he'll come right back up to 90 where he got dropped on the hatch earlier. Start helping Oceanus go for a bit of a different retake.
Also, when he got that 2K, I kind of may have exclaimed Prophet's name by accident because I looked up from my notes, saw the P, and I was like, ah, yes, Prophet. No, that was Phoenix. So good job, Phoenix, able to claw things back to an even fight. Although he is now alone over towards the connector. The other 2 attackers separating over towards Master side. Now Darkin and Gooby mounting their own push. This round, though, they do still have the hard breach. That is the one thing they do have. However, we face with Jammer's Electro Claws, and he still has them both in pocket. They might not know there's a Kaid. Darkin will go down anyway, and as soon as Gooby gets that hard breach down, they could potentially just get tricked off, and Phoenix will die, and it's a 1v3, all up to the hard breach moving through bathroom.
Yubi can still go for a play. It's just looking really, really unlikely because Regrets, just sitting behind the black box and double checking that his crouch key works as we head into the latter part of this round. Regrets had a lot of impact in the last game, and he's still trying to prove that he has got what it takes. Depth go up by 2. It's not uncommon for Villa. However, the question remains, are we going to see a full site rotation on a Villa defense? Because if we do, and Depth are able to close us out 3-0, then you really got to question, what does OCG have to do? What's the play, the one fix that they have to worry about? Because right now, Depth are still kind of riding a little bit of that momentum from their Oregon win, and OCG haven't quite had an answer ever since, I don't know, what the last round that they won wasn't... They won, what, one attack round on Oregon? They
won round 7 on Oregon was the last time they won. They've dropped 5 in a row now against Depth coming off the last one.
That's the stat that I was looking for. It's not totally insurmountable, but I also don't want to call Kitchen a bad site anymore just because of the amount of things that you're able to do to it. Now, we were harping on PDHM and Slaughterhouse for making sure that they actually have some top floor roam presence, and that's the case. Hopefully, then they're able to just use the master bedroom side of the map to just kind of stall for time. I think that's exactly where Exxon's heading, and at the moment it's Regrets and one more. They're putting 3 people situated upstairs above the site, at least for right now.
You were talking about a fix that Oceanus need, and I'm not quite... I've been kind of thinking about that. I don't really know, right? Oceanus,
10 seconds to insertion.
they have decent entries, right? Every time they get in the building, it's maybe a 1-for-1 trade, maybe a 2-for-1 in trade in their favor, but it's nothing horrible, right? They have pretty okay roam clears. They've pretty decent drone work. Where they keep falling is the execute. The mid to late round where they either peek into a door and just die because someone on Depth wide swings and catches them off guard, or they just don't have the necessary intel into the site. A lot of it is Depth just pushing where Oceanus don't expect. So I don't know if maybe it's a similar situation to how Depth were operating at the first half of Oregon, where a lot of times they would have a good entry, and they would just, the lack of drone work and lack of intel on the site itself caused a lot of bodies to fall right before or during the execute.
That's a good point, but I don't know if it's something that OCG is necessarily super concerned with to start with. You know, you lose 2 rounds, you kind of already know how Villa plays out. It's not something that you need to start going head over heels to alter your strategy to help correct, but really come down to how they want to take this push to start with. And if you're right above the kitchen side, you defend Master, but how do you attack Master? You got to do it from the study and the Aviator Games side of the map. And Phoenix will use a little bit more of that horizontal pressure. I think he's just kind of on flank watch, waiting to see if someone wants to come through the library/living room side of the map. Nova, it's a little bit of HP damage across the map. And, oh, man, come on. Phoenix is looking in the doorway, and Regrets just peeks and gets the kill. Oh, he's looking right in the doorway and still can't capitalize. He forgets to press mouse 1, which is what Ashbanes are supposed to do. Toasty will get knocked down, but can still be recovered, at least for a second, as OCG are still trying to take more of this master side control. There's still plenty of utility that's been put up here for Depth Esports, and Nova still trying to equalize. Actually, that's the kill onto the down Toasty, and OCG looking to make more of an impact as we're at a little under half the round to go.
That's, you know, another example of Phoenix just, I guess, not expecting him to swing, right? I mean, if you're in there, you're like, you know, who's gonna swing the memo door? Who does that? Exxon and Nova will trade blows. Gooby goes down in the process, so no more Hibana. hard breach off the board because OCG have been running a 1 hard breach attack in the lineup. So losing Gooby, it's a lot of utility off the board. They finally are able to take top floor control, but at the cost of 2 minutes and 2 bodies. Still a 3v3 in depth now holding up on the site. May have an advantage, but as Prophet rotates out of Mudroom, he's cut down by Darken on the stairs. So, OCG, 1 man up. But last time it was a 2v3, it was still Depth to come away with the win due to a great flank by the now deceased Prophet, of course, on a different operator. Jammer is definitely a name to watch out for, though, coming off the last map, and on this current map, Regress has been popping off, so I mean, this round still isn't necessarily out of the realm of possibility as Kibbs drops down the laundry, burns away the magnets, self-flashes, in fact, but unfortunately, his team is not really anywhere to be found with the final 12 seconds. I mean, what can you do? He's not the one carrying Diffuser either. Where is Darken? He peeks in trying to find the pick as Nova goes down to Jammer. He's trying to find the Regress. He will get him. Can they pinch the Wamai in time? Yes, they will. Darken with the final kill, and Oceanus finally with an attacking round.
It wouldn't have happened if the Nomad wasn't able to drop the hatch, withstand her own flashbang getting activated by the Wamai disc, and still be able to find the flank required for the Wamai to get pinched right at the very end. So good play from Oceanus, but it took a lot of time for them to figure out where their final 2 members of Depth were positioned for going in for those last couple of picks. Like I said, that does still kind of stem the blood flow a little bit. You can get attack rounds on Villa, and at this point, it's difficult to understand really what that means anymore. If you get an attack round on Villa, you're like, oh, hey, that's really good. We're taking more momentum away from Depth. It makes it easier for us on our half, but it's also not necessarily to say that being, a defender on Villa is necessarily all that much of an advantage, especially if you're able to pull out pretty good custom plays like OCG just did. Good round, but I don't know whether it's going to hold consistent. They need to get some more momentum going and try to take as many attack rounds as possible and then just hold fast on defense if they want to force a map 3.
We're back on AVG. Very similar lineup, except now they've dropped Elysian for a smoke. Got a little more, I don't know if I'd say more delay power. They've got more consistent delay power, I guess, because Elysian completely relies on them actually stepping on your goo mines, and they can just kind of shoot it out of the way. But Regrets, throwing a toxic cast canister, it's very hard to shoot. So, I'm interested to see why they made that change, because it was the Legion who clutched up the 1v2. But I guess they figure, if we had the smoke, they really never would have gotten into the room to begin with.
Yeah, it's more like, well, the clutch happened and it was cool and all, but what can we do to make sure that it doesn't become necessary? And the answer is more area denial and more attempting to stall for time. The smoke ends up being used effectively and isn't picked off early, that is. That has happened before, and more often than not, if you're losing an area denial operator with that much time stall on the board, it definitely means that the attacking squad has way more time to readjust. Darken will move into bathroom solo. He's got drone coverage with him though, and there's no one or any utility situated in Astro, but there's still someone on cam, so now they know that Astro control is being taken over. It does Depth. He has a little bit more help from bathroom now as Phoenix also begins to take over more. Yeah, he's still outside Steel Milliard. He's just looking for the angle in case someone comes through AVG, but now he's actually in trophy entrance, so he's just kind of waiting for the intel, and now he'll watch down from Classical Hall to see if someone comes back through the 90 corner. Everything from OCG seems pretty darn standard. Depth haven't gone for anything aggressive, and it's just a matter of OCG figuring out how many prongs of this attack they want to go for, because it's not coming from Study Valk at all.
And this position in 90 from Toasty is, of course, a pivotal part. He lets go of that, and they are able to somehow take whatever utility is on the wall off, and that allows Gooby to get the third breach. However, Jammer goes down, and the wall is electrified, so I believe Jammer did put his electric claws down, but will no longer be able to trick thanks to Nova's G8. First pick as well, and a loss of C4. Trying to put a nade over the wall to clear that utility was the sledge, as Kibbs will find Exod, so now goes the Jaeger. So a good entry from OCG, 5v3 advantage, and Gooby now will be able to get those Hibana pellets on the wall and open up vaults, which they failed to do the first time.
And so far, this is the best man advantage that Oceanus have really ever had at any point during this game, and the best part about it is it's coming at a really opportune moment because Depth seem like they're not completely positioned appropriately. Nova and Phoenix, no, never mind, Phoenix will actually back away and try to support Gooby, but there also is still a man sitting on the 90 window. I think they're trying to go in and clear out everything situated in Aviator just so that they're able to go for a default vault push, and They're doing a pretty good job of baiting out those toxic canisters from smoke in order to do so, but they haven't really contended for profit. Actually, I think Phoenix might have seen him on drone. He'll get right off the drone. He'll get shot by regrets, but now the position inside study has probably already been ascertained by OCG, so they won't go for push just yet.
Yeah, everything's stacking up on the Aberdory right now, and one will fall. Phoenix gets dispatched of by Prophet, who still holds inside of Study, and this is why you usually have someone on the balcony to stop the six-stack flank. He's getting the plant down, but that player is holding them, and it's 2 for Kibbs, but can he continue to protect Gooby? He can! It goes down, and Nova there, over by the Study flank, cuts down Toasty. Oceanus with a well-played round, and they will finally take a second and tie us up, thanks to that stack up on Aviator and a beautiful plant cover by Kibbs.
And the plant cover is the more important part of it. You can't just rush right in and go straight for the plant behind vault. It all comes down to massive teamwork play. And the cool part about that is OCG having lost Aviator once, even though Depth made a couple of adjustments, OCG still had a pretty good idea what they were doing wrong and how to fix it. Instead of getting pinched on a couple different spots, like having one by Classical Hall, or it's still worried about push from a different part of the map, they instead decided we can buddy up a little bit, just work on individual cover spots. And their drone game also worked beautifully to ensure that there wasn't an additional crossfire coming from the study side of things up until there was someone to actually cover said crossfire. OCG did a really good job of ensuring what they did wrong the last time Depth went to Aviator was not a problem again. Now we'll see whether that can be mimicked for Trophy, because this was the other site that Depth successfully defended before we went to Kitchen, and OCG brought things back to even 2 rounds later.
So, Depth now on Trophy. They will, very easy to see why they opted not to go AVG again. I think if they just don't if they have more plant denial, maybe use the C4s, use the smokes. There was really nothing like stopping Kibbs other than players just swinging and losing fights. So, it's a little bit unfortunate, maybe a bit of mismanagement for utility, but we'll have to swap. OCG still rocking the exact same lineup. So, what really went wrong for OCG last time was just their entry over for Study, stalling out outside the doors, and the kind of separation that they had over towards the Master Valk didn't do much. I really hope Oceanus opts to instead stay together a little bit more and hopefully reserves those bodies that they had on the entry for the later push, just to have more tradability, because that's really where Depth have been thriving and taking advantage of Oceanus.
Yeah, and OCG also really aren't letting the pressure get to them either. I think they're still managing to keep their heads about them. Nothing seems too, distracted or disjointed. And obviously they're on a 2-round win streak, so you kind of hope that their things are a little bit more together. And it does seem as though that's the case. A reminder that this is being fought for the right to go on to the next round, the upper bracket, next week in the Canadian Challenger League division. Going to be going up against, if I have my notes correct, Oblivion. That's correct. Yes. Oblivion defeated Windstorm 2-0, so this one's for the right to face them for the right to then go towards that finals match and see if they still have an opportunity to compete in Canadian Challenger League relegations. And you got to keep your wits about you if you're OCG, because you got to win this one, then one more in order to do that. So you can't let your hearts climb too far into your throats, lads.
Of course, the winner of whoever wins this versus Oblivion will face the winner of PDHM Honor, and we might have an Honor Oblivion rematch for the top 2. Wouldn't that be a little bit of deja vu? Right now, Oceanus still pushing over from the Master side, setting up drones, and not a body has fallen yet on either side. We'll move into the walk-in closet, and Darken will open up a hole just to allow a long line of sight through bathroom into Astro, but no, the Hibana pellets just barely go off again. The trick that Jammer was playing for proves fruitful, and they'll only be able to open a small hole, but Phoenix will get the entry under regrets. Clean up the smoke.
A minute to go. Phoenix wants their frag behind Astro Des, but there's no one situated there up until Exod goes for the rotate. Exod versus Phoenix. Old teammates collide, and this time it's the one that stays on OCG that decimates the one that didn't. Frag grenades and more flashes will still attempt to clear the utility, as there's a couple more of those Womai discs, and Jaeger's already dead, but the Womai still might have one more in his back pocket. Oh, C4 from below will knock out Gooby, but Diffuser is now down outside. Actually, no, it's been down outside the entire time. Nova's looking for a flank. Someone from OCG's got to go back and grab that Diffuser. 3 versus 2 as there's 2 kills that come out in quick succession, and there's another one as Nova grabs Jammer, and Nova swings back around at the very beat. Just comes right back to landing, grabs one more G8 kill. I mean, what? No, he nopes into statue, then leaves again, grabs the other one, then nopes back again.
All right, well, I guess just not getting the call that his teammate died. So that was a very well put together attack from OCG, right? Okay, they set up over by the master block. They're like, screw study. We just want to hit the site hard and hit it fast. They go adjacent, immediately go to walk-in. No one in walk-in. No one pushing them by the door either. Unfortunately for the mute, I guess Regrets tried to swing Phoenix and died. Exot tries to retake, also swings Phoenix and dies. And then, of course, dispatching Nova for the flank, just finding 2 picks was icing on the cake. Thank God for that flank by the G8 operator. A lot of that was just really good positioning by OCG and some poor swings on the side of depth. So, Oceanus now with the advantage, 3-2 on their attack. And like I said, I didn't think, with how well Depths are performing on their attack, if they take a 4-2 half, I think it's well within the realm of possibility that Depths take the map. But Oceanus have now guaranteed the draw. They take one more, they can just, take the words right out of my mouth, and they will come away with, pretty much the win almost on a silver platter moving to their defense.
Yeah, but now the problem for Depth is figuring out where the heck you go to end your defense. It's not something that they can go back to kitchen for, because they lost that pretty handily, so their options were definitely between the 2 top floor bomb sites, because they haven't won either one of those on the back half of this defense yet. They opt to go for Trophy because it's the one that's still freshest in their minds, and maybe they think, okay, we can make this one slight adjustment for this one, but I believe the operator lineup is still remaining the same, and they're not going for anything too out of the ordinary. That's a run out from Mute, probably just to draw them off. I mean, surely not going for an actual pick and going all the way out to the top of the balcony. And, oh my god, I stand corrected! Regrets grabs 2 off the run out from the Mute bait! You think, oh, the Mute's gonna go outside and go for a pick, and he doesn't, but then the Valk comes right back up and cleans up in a massive way. That's precisely what Depth need in order to bring this one to a 3-3.
So Kivs and Nova dead. IQ and Nomad, no more flank. No more, clearing the utility from below either, so a lot of those jammers will probably persist. A lot of those bandit batters will probably persist as well, and of course, the hard to spot Black Eyes. Gooby tries to make up for it, though. He'll fell eggs on, and we're back to at least even man count, but still, utility firmly in the favor of Depth. They've still got 2 C4s, they still got Wamai and a shield, so off of that spawning, I mean, we're still 2 minutes left in the round, and there's already been 4 deaths, and Oceanus are just coming on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, but at the moment, even though it's a 2K run out, that's probably going to shatter Oceanus' confidence a little bit more so than it still being, a 3-3. Because having 2 players die that quickly and all of a sudden you have to reassess your strategy, it's a really difficult thing to do. The saving grace, though, is that it happened so early in the round that OCG actually have time to reassess what they need to do and adapt accordingly. And it looks like the plan is Sledge can go into Art Room, Darkin just kind of rushes back in, and now Gooby and Phoenix are going to approach from the study side of things. Darkin just kind of comes right back and goes up main just to check it to make sure, and now OCG, they're beginning to completely reassess this push, and right now, they're coming in hard and fast.
If one player from Death was just sitting in a rat corner, he could have gotten at least 2 points. Right now, Oceanus are just dry peeking. They're not even droning out or anything, and Toasty will find one on a Darkin. 2 versus 3. It's all to Phoenix and Gooby, who previously took an engagement over by the statue door. Toasty finds another kill, and it's all up to Gooby, the hard breacher, as you can hear pings going out, but it doesn't stop from Toasty getting his 3rd Depth with round 6, thanks to a brilliant run out early in the round.
So Regrets grabs 2 kills, OCG cleaned up with 2 more, and then OCG kind of goes, what do we do? I don't think they had a bad idea by trying to rotate back from study again. The only issue is exactly what you pointed out. They're dry peeking. They don't have drones in proper positions to see if they're able to, at the very least guess where the remaining members of Depth are sitting. They're just kind of going in, checking for peaks and hoping that they're able to win their gunfights. And they had time is the thing. They also probably had a couple more drones in reserve with which to acquire said intel, and they just kind of rushed the point a little bit too fast, and they don't really know where everyone from Depth is situated because it was a 3 versus 3, and then all of a sudden it's a 3 versus 0 because OCG can't clean up a single kill. But we sat here earlier, a 3-3 half on Oregon, a 3-3 half on Villa. How the hell is this one going to transpire?
I don't know, but Oceanus do now have the advantageous side, so if they're going to show us that they can yet again take a 3-3 split on the attack on a defender-favored map. Of course, they did on Oregon. I don't see it completely out of the realm of possibility that they'll do it on Villa too, but of course, Oceanus want to stop to that and take us to the fabled, the mythical map 3. We have not been able to achieve throughout the entire first playday in both regions. So,
And we're gonna keep on making a big deal out of this until it happens, by the way.
yeah, it's
we
kind
are
of astounding. Everything has happened in 2-0.
Especially when you think that some matchups are going to be closer, and to still not have a game actually need a decider map to be sorted out. It's almost like one team wins, rides that streak of momentum, and then it goes on to win the next one, and then you're like, well, okay, I guess we'll see you next week. I think we can see it a little bit more. I'm hoping to see it more when we move into the next weekend. If it doesn't happen here, I get it, because you gotta sort through, you know, which teams are super strong and, you know, weed the weak ones out, and then have the strong teams face the strong teams heading into next weekend. It's just, it's all one massive jumble, but the point is, can we see Cafe?
What if we go an entire season without 2 wins?
I'm not gonna lie, that'd be really anticlimactic, but I'd be for it. Just because it proves that the really good teams are really good, right?
Yeah. That would be momentous. That'd
be mythical.
Indeed. Yeah, Crater wants it just because of production. But...
What, you mean you don't want to sit through an entire 12-hour play day of Challenger League? We're here for it.
Come on,
we'll do
Crater.
it if it gets that far.
All right, Crater wants to see Cafe. So Crater's gunning for a map 3. Map 3 between these two teams would certainly be cool. And there's the alibi ping. Is it going to be enough intel for the C4? Unfortunately, it is not. Kibbs, currently on the Shaiko scoreline, is not going to find the pick to get off of it. But Nova, I mean, he's still got the pulse. He's still got the info, so he can play off his own C4. We'll see the player stand still for a second. And he will continue to. Exod going to be the first one blown sky high by Nova.
Didn't even really notice that this was a kitchen defense for Oceanus, as this is their pick, and they feel pretty confident going to one that we still kind of consider to be an offsite. Prophet will still clean up and even the odds out as Darken falls, and the Alibi's got the Prismas up, but now you know the Alibi is dead. All of a sudden, you don't have to fire anything that looks like Italian operator. You kill Italian op on the Italian map. We don't have a Maestro dead, so the only Italian spirit that's left here is the Ghost of Assassin's Creed somewhere across the map that I know that there's an Easter egg for. Phoenix and, oh man, 2 massive kills just sitting inside Master Bedroom, and now you've got Diffuser control, and Death doesn't really know how to respond. Actually, never mind. There's the R4C blazing. Takes off Phoenix's head. They now have Diffuser in their possession and start making more of a push in. 45 seconds, 3v2. It's possible, but he doesn't quite have... We have the silhouette, so we can kind of guess where that's going to be, but still sometimes you're almost like, is there a wall between where he's looking and this? Here comes the choke point in the crossfire. Oh, Nova grabs another one, but he'll get traded back by Toasty. Yeah, I was a little confused by that as well.
Well, I mean, he got one and got away. All right, 1 versus 2, and he's still at full HP. If he clutches this round, I'm going to blame the failure of that crossfire right there. But, of course, he's still got Gooby and Kibbs to go through. Pop Flash, not done nearly as well as Stove did in the previous game on Villa, but still able to make it in alive, but there's only 12 seconds left. Got to find the next 2 picks. Got an average of 5 seconds to find them. Each will pre-fire 1 corner, miss, and Gooby shuts him down with the shotgun. Oceanus with round 7, thanks to that. I mean, that was a pretty good roam, right? Because, I mean, you know, you lose the alibi. It's like, oh no, alibi. And then Phoenix retook and just shut everything down.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to do anything with a roam operator, the question is, does the gadgetry that operator brings justify then leaving site and then kind of going for a roam basically wherever? I think it also does kind of depend upon the operator lineup that's brought or that's banned out, mostly because the age-old question, can you roam with Bandit, is something that gets asked, but that really just depends on, is a Thatcher alive? Do you need to ban a trick? And if not, go ahead, put your charges down and leave again. Alibites does kind of fall into that category, but it's almost like, okay, if someone shoots a Prisma, you have momentary intel, but do you have people in positions ready to capitalize on it? The answer is oftentimes no, mostly because, oh, okay, well, if you put your Prisma and someone shoots it through a window and you don't have anyone to clean up using that information, then, well, what was the point of the pick? It's all good, though. Darken will switch over to the Goyo as opposed to using the Alibi, and now we get back into multi-shield territory, as I believe. Yup, here we go again. Gibbs has got 1, Ruby's got 1, Darken's got 2. Welcome back to the meta.
And Jaeger will mine. Woo!
Dang.
I love it.
But do you actually love it is the question.
No.
Nah, no.
No, I don't.
You really do be like that.
It is better than nothing, though, so I guess I'll just have to. Yeah. OCG are at least playing the shields aggressively, right? They've got 1 over towards Aviator. They're opening up the bar so they can play 1 on main stairs too. So, you know, actually, okay, they're gonna have 2 shields dedicated to main stairs. Okay, so that's a little bit interesting, right? It's not gonna be the average boring, okay, 3 shields in sight and we're gonna sit here and wait for you kind of thing. So that's kind of cool. So depths are gonna be met with shields immediately as soon as they enter the building. Unless, of course, they decide to play for Master Side, in which case all my excitement will vanish.
Guess we'll find out as this one progresses. I was about to say, if we had all 3 shields just sitting in sight, you're just like, that kind of seems like turtle overkill, but not to be, and we'll see whether that has to change up depth's perception. That changes up depth perception of how this round is supposed to play out on the attack. God, I love it when I'm able to put a bad dad joke into a cast.
I don't have much. I'm sorry, that was rude. I love you, Ty. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll go ahead and let that one slip, and then we'll see whether or not Ty can get back out of his grave later. And it's just he's gonna be squirming right now. Exxon, he's forced his way back up main stairs, but he's just trying to burn utility and actually doesn't know that the continent's about to go off. Smoke's directly above him. If he knows what's good for him, he won't peek this. But Gooby waiting for that exact thing to happen. Here come the flashes. He's actually full flash, but I don't know if they're about to force their way back up the stairs. Exxon, he's still pretty tentative about it. One coming from Classical Corridor, but he'll still find Gooby and then work his way back down. The trade is a little bit late because the Womai rotates back through the hole behind the bar. Darkin will still grab Jammer, but Exxon's still alive after clearing the smoke out. That's definitely a misplay from OCG.
I can't believe he got main stairs that easily. All the flashbangs coming the way of smoke. I mean, he couldn't do anything. He was really relying on that player in Classical Hall to pick up the trade. There's a bit of a trade. It's late, but Nova takes out Exodus downstairs. Darkin is dispatched by Toasty and Ash. So 3 versus 3. We're evened up with 1:12 left in the round, and Hibana will be able to open this wall into bar. And that's a little bit weird opening. I don't think they'll be able to walk through it. It is a vault hole, so not too advantageous. It will have a loud sound cue when they move through it, and they can't exactly walk through it smoothly, but a hole's a hole. Toasty will take a little bit more damage on the red stairs, and depth have started to slow down. But as I say that, there's regrets with a kill, there's Prophet with another. Out of nowhere, it's a 1v3 for Nova. He can't even clean up Prophet just yet. He's so worse for wear. And now the attackers have full sight control, and all that's left is Nova stuck in 90.
Well, he does have more holes that he's able to go through. I think our wonderful friend Emzo said, hey, holes work both ways. So Nova can still make his way through that side of the map if he wants to, but Toasty is watching the cross. Diffuser goes down, Nova moves in, Toasty takes his head off, and depth ties up at 4-4 yet.
Okay. After that main stairs control, it just fell apart. Depth were able to walk in. They were able to open the bar wall. And I don't know what OCG were doing. They were just staring at the doorways and not clicking. One head got taken off. The other got taken off. And then Nova, who was stuck in 90 because the entire attack pushed from the study side, 90 control doesn't really do much, especially not after your entire team is dead, because Exod, who is moving up the hallway you're supposed to be covering, was able to get 2. He's falling away for OCG, and yet again, I mean, we're all tied up.
Yeah, and we're still tied, and we're already on to round 9, so the pressure, maybe whether you realize it or not, is already beginning to mount. Match point is about to hit us closer than you think. It's either going to happen in 2 rounds, 3, or 4. And by the time it does, I'm wondering how exactly the match will have transpired and whether or not one of these 2 teams' confidences will be pretty much in the gutter. They're holding fast for the moment, and OCG, after coming off of an Oregon loss, are still doing a pretty good job of hanging in there. They've had to kind of shift the balance back and forth, but this has been a contest where there hasn't been one team that's had more than a 2-round lead since depth was up 0-2 after round 2. That's it. Everything else since then has been OCG mounting a comeback, and the things going back 1 round over the other. OCG just had a round lead only 1 round ago. This is already becoming more and more of a close contest. The only question is, because it's OCG's map pick, they want to defense second. Is this where they begin to pull away?
But remember, this is how Oregon started. It was 4-4. Depths took the next 3 in a row straight. So
that was on defense on their map pick, though. I'm wondering if OCG can kind of do the same thing and swing it back their side.
Well, I mean, Nova's trying to do something about it. He's 12-6. Unfortunately, no one on OCG quite having those numbers. In fact, Arkin being the only other member who's positive. Phoenix not having as much of a banger of a game as the last one. He was 15-8. Now he sits at 6-7. Darkin, in fact, picking up Ella. Definitely interesting. Probably doing a closet hold, I would presume, because that's usually the only reason why you would take Ella. But for now, at least, depth are completely avoiding it by carrying over for study, and Darkin is actually playing over towards benches, and Nova will take the head off of Toasty and shut down the potent entry up to this point.
Darkin's just going to use this little mirror slit to see if someone walks through study, but Depth, they're thinking a little bit better of it for the moment. Exxon's got a really good angle on Skylight if someone wants to hug the wardrobe corridor, and Prophet sees the head on the Womai, but isn't able to capitalize, and Womai will back away. Just trying to look for another opportunity. Is Depth to go for a decent frag, and he'll hit one of those Gersmots, and the presence of an Ella has been revealed, if not confirmed. Jammer grabs Nova Phoenix with regrets off the table at the moment, and half the round left to go. OCG is still kind of in the driver's seat from a man count perspective, but Exxon's already kind of forced his way onto the side. Nah, he'll retreat back into Master once he realizes he doesn't have a frag.
Yeah, he realized that there's no opportunity for him there, and if he lingers too long and overstays his welcome, he could potentially be the next victim. But for now, Oceanus is just chilling, waiting for Depths to expose themselves. Kibbs currently on the red stairs, hugging the tight corner, ratting out of it, and holding this semi-crossfire with Darkin. I'm sure once the fight gets taken with Kibbs, Darkin will swing around for the cover, and vice versa. Depths have slowed down, and there's two players over towards this way, and Exod currently just fighting his own battle by himself, and if he goes down, you know, there's really no one who's going to be able to trade him. Exxon gets Phoenix, though, so one player goes down. That's the Jaeger dead, and Kibbs will detach from red stairs, but it's still not enough to dispatch him. Darkin, he'll get his own kill on Prophet. Exxon take the fight with some shots as Jammer trades off the Ella inside of benches. So Diffuser in control. Now, theoretically back in Depth's favor. They don't exactly have it. There's no one currently sitting on top of it, so back to even man count, 25 seconds. Exxon has trophy control. I'm not sure where the rest of Oceanus is. Jammer's getting this plant down. Is there any kind of anti-plant? Gooby gets one kill, and that'll force Jammer off the plant. Now worried about his flank, he's watching towards red stairs, but he's got no time. 10 seconds, he knows there's a guy in Master. He'll take the fight, he'll peek around. Does he win? Oh, he went behind the windows. I didn't even know where Kibbs went for a sec. It was like some artifacting on the clean feed. I was like, oh, wait, where did he go?
Oh no, yeah. He just decides to dip right back behind it, and then swings so that it throws the Nomad off, and you go, oh, I'll just have to go ahead and peek this hard right. Maybe the bandit's trying to hide. Nope, the bandit swings back around, grabs the frag, and Nomad's caught completely unawares. OCG now are swinging the round count in their favor yet again. This is back and forth, and like we mentioned, the pressure still continues to rise. They're able to force a match point situation if they're able to clean up this next one, but Depth are still going toe-to-toe, even though it's the battleground that they didn't select. And whether or not you consider attacking on Villa to still be a disadvantage, it's going to be proven over the course of, at the very least, the next two. We're going to head to round 11 at a very, very minimum, but at Depth, they're able to win at least one. We're going to be heading straight into all 12 rounds required to determine if Cafe is necessary afterwards.
Well, we will have to see. I'm kind of feeling him at, I think.
I'm down for it.
Going. I think we're gonna have. I think it just feels like it's gonna be. Hit Darkin yet again, donning the alibi. Such a pivotal operator for the defense. I mean, you lose an alibi, and man, now the attackers know not to shoot the holograms. I mean, it's over. I'm just kidding. Alibi brings literally no utility, and a lot of people just bring it because she has a good kit and a good gun. She's a good roamer, so a shield as well. You know, a shield is never something to shake a stick at. Any shield is a hell of a boon for the defense, and they'll probably take it because they're currently armed with just one set of, actually a bulletproof cam. 3 C4s, they've got no barb. That is a rare sight indeed for any defender lineup.
I mean, but you're really just kind of hoping that the nitros are all you really need to deter a Depth attack? I don't know how effectively you can use those, but if OCG is still playing up top above kitchen, then the possibilities for what you can do with those nitros are basically limitless. Though the question is, do you put all those nitros down below, wait for someone to go up top, or do you place a whole bunch of defenders up top with the nitros and force them off and hope that using them isn't even necessary? Exxon gets wallbang down to 1 HP through the portrait. But as far as actually getting taken down, again, Oceanus have no idea that they've actually dealt that much damage. And all right, actually, if Exxon were to get down and to pick back up again, he'd come back with far more HP. Even if he were to self-revive, if he gets down, he'd come back with probably one more sliver than what he currently has. That's how little HP he's got. And, yep, I think that's the Alibi MX Storm that downs him, which also doesn't do a whole bunch of damage in the first place, but it's where Exxon will use that self-res and get himself back up. And, yep, there, a little bit more HP came back.
Resets are back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Exxon with now 1 point more worth of HP. Hell yeah. Although, he can no longer go down ever again. So far, Depth have moved in completely horizontally. No real pressure on any of the players on the top floor. Just moving through living room library, trying to take control of metal as fast as they can. This will take some damage, and he's finished off by the low HP Exxon. So even though he's got 1 HP, still enough for him to frag out. Gooby there with a trade, but one rugs right past Nova, and the Hibana has got no clue.
No way!
What a rat play from the Pulse, and that'll swing things back in their favor. No more entry, no more hard breach, no more profit. As he'll trade out with Gooby, Darken with another. It's a 1v3 up to Exxon on 1 HP. As the Sophia and Nova in Laundry shuts him down. Oceanus, they take round 10 and they take map point.
Nova's plan, find a corner, stick in the corner, don't pull the trigger until it's the most advantageous moment. Press mouse 1. That's a phenomenal defense from OCG, and I believe Nova is already up to 15 kills on map 2. The man is having himself a whale of a time on Villa. This is what we've been looking for this entire time. We've seen maps go to overtime on map 2, because we still haven't seen a map 3 yet. But all OCG needs is one more clever defense like that, or one more Nova play as rat-based as that one. All of a sudden, we're heading to Cafe Dostoyevsky and breaking the 7-map streak without a decider. Oh my gosh, Nova. Good Lord, that's not, it's not legal.
Yeah, you know what would stop that from happening too?
What?
If the attackers took top floor and opened the hatch.
Attackers need to locate.
Wow, really? I have no idea that's how you're supposed to play this.
Foreign concept, I know. I don't know why Depth thought that doing a completely horizontal take into literally like just Memo, or even like detaching and going for China with top floor control still in the attacker's favor. I don't really know why they thought that would work. And clearly it didn't. OCG now set on map point. Now we're back to AVG. AVG being a defense though that they have previously lost. Depth took it pretty well, but here's the change from OCG. They have
10 seconds left.
Mira, not an operator you often see, especially on Villa, just because literally every single floor is destructible, and it's really easy to just go downstairs, explode beneath her, and shoot the Mira window. But no, we'll see if Nova can do, well, I guess his best Cloud9 Nova impression, because that Nova's known for playing a lot of Mira too. See if it works out for Oceanus.
I mean, it's also been interesting by the fact that we haven't seen Amira the entirety of this day up until I think this round. It wasn't played at all on Oregon, and it was banned both times in the PDHM Slaughterhouse match that we casted earlier in the day. So for us, it's completely new territory, and you're right. Villa's pretty darn notorious for having almost any floor be destructible, and you can go for angles wherever you want. And if that ends up coming back to bite OCG in the butt, we'll probably only have to stall out for 1 round, so it may not matter in the end, but Phoenix will try to go for, I believe it might have been a run out, and Jammer will shut him down. Actually, no, he'll get crossfired from a hole that's been opened up in Piano side, and Phoenix with 7 kills. He's, fortunately for this round, the kind of player who plays Jaeger for the utility and not for the carbine.
Yeah, he plays it for the ADSs, huh? Phoenix has not been having the best map too, especially not after his resounding performance on Oregon, but here we go. There's Depth doing the downstairs clear and making sure that Amira can't play safely. I don't know what the hell the Exod just shot. It was actually the C4 from Darken that got stuck, unfortunately. So, bit of a waste of utility from the Goyo, and the shield dispatched as well, as Depth will now take control of the main stairs. Remember last time, this main stairs control is where Oceanus started to fall in the mirror window. Thank you 2.0 for highlighting it. And there we go. Open underneath, and
Bomb located
Bink.
by attackers.
Well, all right. So now there's a hole in a reinforced wall, and it's going to make things a little bit tougher for OCG to hold down, especially if they want someone to bunker behind the bar. At least for the moment, OCG is still in control of the map despite having 1 player down. ADSs haven't been burned through yet, and that'll be one more thing Death has to cross off their checklist before going for a more effective take. Nova has been forced out of the position behind bars, so he'll just try to go for a peek, and he'll get punished for it off the backs of a peek looking out onto the study side of the map. Again, Depth are not aware that he's been down just yet. Prophet will try to use those feed holes to figure out if there is somebody back inside Vault, and Gibbs will grab Toasty. For the moment, it's a 3 versus 3 because Nova's still down, but Exxon will grab another kill, and there's another tap fire. And all of a sudden, Depth clean up a couple kills in quick succession, and don't really even get to see what happened other than that they have their crosshairs exactly where they're supposed to be.
every time OCG have given up study, it's been the win for Depth. Devs just really know how to push into study, how to open that bar wall and use it against the defense, especially the position where the mirror window was. You saw, you know how important bar is. Just holding bar, as a smoke. As soon as that mirror window's popped, you give up that position. You just can't hold there anymore because it's a free line of sight into that pivotal anchor point. And the attackers don't even have to use any hard breach for it. So the mirror pick, I think, maybe working a little bit against OCG in that sense. They didn't use it, really at all, right? There was no investment that Depth had to do other than, go downstairs and shoot it from below. There were no kills that Oceanus got from the mirror windows. It didn't look like they were playing off any important intel gathered by the mirror windows. I just think that was a bit of a bad pick.
Yeah, and I think OCG already recognized that it's not something that they want to go for again, and there's no longer a mirror on the board. Nova's opted to go back to his role on Wamai. They're still bringing the Wamai-Jaeger combo. We're not bringing a Goyo because we're not on Kitchen. OCG are going back to Trophy, which they've already won one time previously, and they're sticking to a routine of the same 3 sites in, a particular order, regardless of whether they lose one and then opt to go back for it a second time. That's something that a lot of teams have had a tendency to do. I haven't really been able to focus on, oh, hey, you lost the site, so you're going back to it to try it again. At least in the context of Canadian Challenge League, from what we've seen over all 4 maps thus far, if a team loses a site, and they're like, all right, let's try something different, in 95% of circumstances, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, we've kind of been noticing that through the whole day. I think these 2 teams are one of the first ones to really run it back to back. I think earlier, when the defense of, defense of Depth, I think, tried Trophy twice, and there's some instances of, Oceanus trying Laundry twice earlier on Oregon, but otherwise this has been a day of just back and forth and swapping sites. Double impact from below, trying to clear the shield, but I didn't hear the telltale signs of the metal clacking, and no, the ping 2.0 reveal the flag that both those impact miss. That's not great. You literally just lost out on pretty much all of Zophia's utility because he just shot it at a hard floor for nothing. Now, the nade from below will at least deal a little bit of damage to Nova, but I'm not sure if the shield has been cleared yet. It looks like it has because the defenders have fallen off of benches, but still, you had to use both of Zophia's explosives and the nade just to clear one shielded benches.
Yeah, not great utility usage from Depth, and OCG are hoping that because you don't have those impact nades in pocket anymore, that can hopefully be the catalyst and send us to Cafe. We can actually put Villa in our rear view mirrors and go to a map 3, but OCG need to keep on stalling for time. Exod can still use more impact. He's been doing really, really good on Zofia thus far, aside from just probably dying before he's able to have too much round impact, and because he doesn't have nades in his back pocket anymore, his performance on this round is most assuredly subpar, at least right now. The call comes in, he'll go straight in for the pick, but Regrets will actually be the one to grab behind Bomb Chassis, and Exod now tries to force his way in, but he'll get shut down by Dark and inside Master because the drone isn't there. Cleaned up by Prophet, but that's still after it's not in their favor. Gibbs will take down Regrets as well. Oh no, he'll still find Phoenix will Prophet, and now the entirety of Sanctuary has been claimed by Depth. They're able to put the diffuser basically anywhere they want. It's just down to Nova and Kibbs, neither one of which are making the play onto site just yet. And I think this diffuser will go down uncontested, and Depth still trying to make an impact on this. Nova moves up inside Toasty's crosshair, and now it's all on Kibbs. He's still only fitted with the MP7 by himself in Astronomy, and Prophet will take the fight because he knows Kibbs is reloading. Depth will not allow map 3 to happen. They allow this back and forth to continue. Now we're heading to overtime.
All right, overtime between these 2 teams. Depth with just that round. They had a really good usage of their intel, right? Drones came in, confirmed that there was really no one watching the statue door, allowed Exod and Regrets to both duo push in. Resulted in 1 kill. Sure, Darkwood was able to get a trade, but I mean, there's only so much you can do with the Scorpion taking those long angle fights. And they, there's really nothing OCG can do to fight back, especially with Exod pushed so far, or Prophet pushed so far in, spotting the feet of Phoenix, Feetnix. And from there, Kibbs was out of utility. He already used his C4. There was nothing OCG could do, so now they'll try dining for their OT round. I mean, it worked. It only worked because Depth decided they were going to completely ignore top.
We're in an overtime situation, and it's always more of a nail biter now because we don't have the perfect street site rotation that we've been able to to call back upon so many times over. It's not one team is doing really well on defense or really well on attack, and it can kind of throw the momentum off kilter, or it would. If it weren't for the fact that this has been back and forth the whole way, literally on the entirety of this match. It's not even just been like the second half. Again, the only time where there was a team that had a lead by more than 1 point, again, more than 1 point, was originally when Depth was up 2-0, and then Depth come back from a 6-4 deficit to now force this position.
These are looking tough for OCG, but of course, running pretty much the same setup on their trophy defense. They have to play the attack the same way. We should see a pretty similar result. I really hope Depth have learned their lesson and they're going to go for this top floor take this time, because last time they attacked the site, it was not pretty, and Nova completely shut them down because, hey, rat corners work when the attackers don't do anything to try and clear you. Looks like we saw some players rappelling up to the master balcony, so I think they are going for that top control, or never mind, they were rappelling up so they could swing into the pantry window of all places and stack 3 people in a cube about 10 square feet wide, and thus there you go. That's why that room is dangerous. A C4 sails out, will claim the life of Jammer, but Kibbs at least refragged there by Regrets, who are standing at a 4-4, but yet again, Depth completely horizontal.
Saw's left into Bicycle looking for a wallbang pick, and he'll get killed on the vault out by Nova, who's still having a great game. The man's got 16 kills, and he's looking to add more to his plate. Prophet's looking for someone on a hatch drop, and he won't push out quite yet because he's still concerned about the pressure from up top, and Prophet will still nab another kill as Darken falls. But Toasty across the map. Nova, 17 kills. The man's trying for a 20 bomb before this one's over. Prophet peeks, but can't find the kill. Gooby still has more HP. Prophet is far worse for wear on the trade.
How did that shotgun not one-shot Prophet?
Was he with the shotgun?
That was
I swear he had the SMG.
No, that was a shotgun shot from Gooby.
Man just shoots him in the leg. Probably just doesn't have the timing right.
I guess he didn't believe hard enough in the M590 and so betrayed him. C4 comes out in desperation from Gooby, but he's met with an explosive of Prophets, and he'll be the one with HP off the board. However, Oceanus still in the advantage, but there's the elbow spotted from Prophet, and he'll dispatch of the Mute, who just plays a little bit too aggressively for his own good. Nova at least still has a C4, so he and Phoenix being the last 2 defenders with significantly more utility than Prophet or Regrets have, and significantly more HP. Both of these last attackers one shot, stacking up in Laundry. Actually, I'm not sure where Regrets went. I know Prophet's in Laundry with the diffuser. Regrets is actually upstairs for whatever reason. What are you gonna do up there? All right, you're Hibana. Like, all right, whatever. He's leaving his attacking teammate completely alone in this 1 versus 2. Now, the thing that Prophet is doing correctly is not foolhardily pushing in, but Regrets will finally drop, and there's the hard breach we're looking for. He'll open up the wall as Prophet has... Prophet left? Prophet left! Oh, wait, he gets a kill on a Phoenix, so I guess that separation doing something? He's gonna go for the plant. Nova's still with a C4 and only 1 bullet, but what? The C4 doesn't kill him? It, like, tickles him. What the hell was that? But he doesn't have any time. The Pulse playing it correctly, knowing that he can just wait out the clock. There's the force plant from Prophet, and the kill from Nova should come. Wait, no, huh? Wait, he let the plant go down. Why?
I'm just kind of waiting to figure out how this one plays out. I'm just as confused as you figuring out how we got to this stage, but 1v1 Prophet and Nova. 18 kills versus 14 kills, the 2 top fraggers on either side of the board. Prophet looking into China, waiting for someone to come from across, and he'll still find the frag. Prophet, 4 kills on the round, decides to take matters into his own hands, grabs diffuser, plants the thing off of bait, and still finds the last kill. Prophet, you are insane, my man. Okay. I'm just as confused as you about how we got to that stage.
Huh?
I have the biggest question mark over my head right now as well. I don't know how OCG allow that to happen. I genuinely don't have any words.
So OCG start the fragging really well, right? All right, 3-2 trade. Okay. Gooby, unfortunately, his shotgun didn't believe hard enough in it. It didn't kill Prophet in 1 shot. Instead, left Prophet at just about 10 HP.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Gooby decides to re-engage or whatever. All right, Jammer just impacted himself. What was that? Okay, Gooby decides to re-engage for whatever reason, and because
Right.
Prophet is just snaking on the ground, sees his shoulder. All right. While Prophet is doing work in laundry, the Hibana is upstairs. Why? She just...
Were there holes at that point?
They would have only been pre-placed. Prophet didn't touch the top floor. At least I don't think. So that was weird from the Hibana. Okay, then Hibana comes back downstairs to open the wall, and Prophet says, "All right, buddy, you got this. I'm gonna dip." Takes Diffuser away to go wrap around through China. Somehow the China flank works, even though he's 1 HP. Nova downs the guy in laundry, and that C4 takes what, like 2 points of HP off the sledge? He got hit. The hit feedback was there, and the sledge did the oof from being damaged. I have never seen a C4 damage someone less than like 20. That was just at the end. That was just a comedy of errors from both sides. That just resulted in, I guess, the plant going down because Nova didn't want to push. He was too scared of the fight, despite Prophet being 1 HP, and Prophet landing probably the most crucial headshot of the round when he needed to on 1 HP.
All right, well, at least that comedy of errors happens in one of the more stressful moments of the round as well. It's now OCG in depth, still fighting tooth and nail. Depth looking to get one more round here. Jammer did impact himself, so at 50 HP he can still have an impact, but not nearly as much as you would have had because the HP didn't come from an OCG engagement, and instead it's just wasted potential from depth. Go for something a little more aggressive. Gooby and what looks like Phoenix, both on the same side of the map. I believe it's a pinch from a few different angles because the IQ looks like she's underneath, trying to go for some jammers again. Gotta do what you gotta do in the absence of a Thatcher to knock any denial off the board as Toasty is back on the Bandit.
Well, at least Nova's alive, so he can go downstairs and deny that utility from below, unlike the last blade here. Now, Jammer's gonna be missing his half HP, so he might not as useful in the gunfights if Oceanus are landing their shots will go down significantly quicker, and that's not really what you want from the Legion, an operator like Lamai, who gets stronger the more he persists. The Hibana hole is actually botched, I think?
There's a little bit of a line there, right?
There's a line there. No, there's a hard line. They can't get through that. That's so unfortunate. They won't be able to hold that. They might not even be able to throw, depending on how high off the ground it is. And that could be, I mean, if that was their main point of contact, that could be the round right there just because they can't push through the wall.
No, I genuinely can, and little mistakes like that are things you have to avoid when you're in a situation like overtime match point. You don't want to throw 4 rounds away to your opponents, but Gooby is still trying to make as much an impact as possible. The pings come through. It's red pings. What? Prophet just sits there and takes the G8 fire. Okay, so Nova's got his 19th frag. Jammer will still try to create an impact, and Darkin gets taken out of the fray, but now Nova's looking for that 20th kill wherever he can find it, and Gooby's still able to move back inside. And Nova now on the cross. Kibbs takes down Jammer, grabs, regrets. We might be heading to another round, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're heading all the way to overtime match point. Round number 15 is required. Will we see Cafe?
That was... Okay, Oceanus did the standard master take. All right, they opened the wall. Cool. I think it was the bathroom push combined with depth just peeking the wall, fed a couple picks, and then, I don't know, maybe Prophet's colorblind, he can't see red pings, he just decided to sit there and take the G8, and of course, coming off that flank, Nova gets a second because close range with the G8. I don't know if you're gonna take that. Actually, I think they were yellow pings. They might be... I think you might be able to still hear the yellow ping while you're spectating a defender.
You should still be able to, yeah.
I think so. I don't know. Maybe it was yellow pings instead. That would definitely make a lot more sense. But anyway, great play by Nova. He now sits on 20 kills, something we haven't seen since
protect your bombs from being defused
since
by
Yaga's
attackers.
21, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that happened
This
in
is
the
second. This is only the second 20 bomb of the.
Wait,
I say only, but actually it's already the second 20 bomb of CL. We're only one play day in.
Was that also on Villa, or was that on the Ape versus Last Dance Oregon matchup?
That was,
Located a bomb.
Because if it's on Villa,
I think either on. No. They played Oregon Club, didn't they?
I swear they played Villa for that
Oregon
too.
Villa? Wait,
Am I
can
crazy?
check on Wikipedia, I think. Right?
Oh,
Is
all right.
Wikipedia-
10 seconds left.
Oh, did they play Villa for Matt?
Oh,
Am I
that's right.
dumb?
Yeah.
They did.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, then that's
5
definitely
seconds to go.
because Yaga Yaga got 21 on map 2. He had,
I was
like,
gonna say,
9 on map
if they pull it on map 2, then it looks like Villa's just the place where
Yeah,
you're
Villa's
able
the
to drop
20 bomb
20
map.
bombs. Yep. All right, well, we're setting a precedent, and we'll see whether or not that continues into future iterations of Villa over the course of CL over the next couple of weeks. Remember, this is overtime. It says overtime, but it doesn't say overtime match point. I believe that's down to a spectator thing. We don't have infinite OT enabled, and if we do, that would make this interesting, but it's just down to this last round.
Remember that game from CCS that Flynn had to cast that went to like
40 rounds or something.
Yeah, something like that. I remember that. I think Levron actually played in that. I remember the players at the end of the game were like, "Not worth. It's just not worth it." So thank God we don't have infinite OT.
Even if you
right?
win that game too, man.
Yeah, that's gotta suck. They just kept going back and forth, and it was on border too. So it's like, how creative can you get on border? It's just the same rounds over and over again.
Well, I mean, hey, we didn't really understand how stale border was until a couple of years after it was put into the rotation. So, I mean, you're just like, actually, you know what? That might be the map where everyone was like, okay, I've literally seen enough border for 3 lifetimes, like 3 seasons. Let's literally just never play this one ever again.
I kind of liked border because I liked border not necessarily because of border, but because it was small. We kind of stepped away from the small maps like Old Chalet, and that was in the Pro League map pool and still an okay map. A border house in Pro League, hell yeah. But Nova will get his 21st kill. There you go, matching Yaga's record. And Profit, oh no, the big man for depth. Probably the only reason they're currently sitting in the max OT position and not a round lost down. And there goes the second reason. Exot off the board. Oceanus with a resounding start to this round.
They are trying to lock it in and prove that the past couple of rounds that they allowed Depth to have to force them to OT is only a momentary lapse in judgment. Toasty will still try to force his way into China's side and look to pressure through the rotates that are already between the A and the B bomb, but at least for the moment, he's going to hold fast and wait for the call from the rest of his teammates. Looks like he's got free access to China, and he'll just burst right in and find the kill onto Gooby. That's a phenomenal frag, but he'll get traded immediately by Kibbs, whose position is not called out. Darkin finds Jammer, regrets 1 versus 4. Diffuser in his possession, Kibbs on low HP. That's the only silver lining. It's a 1 versus 4. There's absolutely no reason he should be able to clutch this out, but he still has 3 frags. He has no drones. I'm just reading what's on the screen at this point because Regrets doesn't have any chance. The curse has been broken. Map 3 will be required for the first time in CL, and we're headed to Cafe Dostoyevsky.
Jesus Christ, Nova has 23 kills? 23! On Pulse! On the UMP! Okay, yeah, I mean, granted he was playing the G8 on attack, but still!
Oh my god.
What? I mean, that's unheard of! I am astounded by Nova's play! And he now holds, at least for this season, Nova is the current Face It Challenger League kill record holder in 1 map. Sure, it went to max OT, but it's still an average of over 1 kill a round. Wow. I'm absolutely blown away by that performance. Who did the Yogdog?
Which happened again on literally the first series of Challenge League, by the way. That 21 kill performance on Villa. Villa literally just is the map where you're able to get that number of kills consistently from what we've seen. And happens on any other map, I'm going to be sad because I really want Villa to have that kind of ironclad tight reputation.
Just Villa.
It's only Villa. If you go to Villa, someone's getting 20 kills. There's a somewhat likely probability of that happening. That's still really disappointing for Depth, though. Yeah, it's not their map pick. OCG literally took them the full distance before they were able to win this one, so you kind of think their confidence might be in the tank a bit, but they still pull the game out of their pocket. Breathe a sigh of relief, lads. You've got a couple minutes before we end up heading to map 3. Get water, because oh my word, you have to be on a heater after losing this one.
I would be, I don't know if I'd be furious or if I'd be crushed, or if I'd be both. Either way, I really hope Depth aren't, you know, their mental game is still up there, and they say, okay, we just took OCG. We won our map in normal time, and we took OCG to max OT on their map and won.
Yeah.
especially that clutch from Prophet, by the way. Shout out to him. He was insane. Not insane enough to stop Nova, who was playing off stuff. That we saw in the replay. So
Yep.
it's not over yet, right? We still have Cafe, and Cafe is a bit more. It's not that it's less utility heavy than either Oregon or Villa, but it is certainly more frag heavy. And with the way these two, I mean, if someone can drop freaking 23 kills on Villa, I'm kind of excited to see these 10 guys do on Cafe.
It's more a question of whether the kills are going to be spread out amongst everyone else on Cafe, because there was still a lot of kills over that entire round. Nova has a 3K on the very, very final one, which we're seeing almost here in a second if we go back to the highlights, if it does show Nova specifically, but I don't know, we've already gone back to the first round. It's Nova pulling off ridiculous stunts. I just don't know if it's going to be more spread, because you're right, Cafe does tend to be a little bit frag favored, but the question now is, how does Cafe play out? We're going to get the answer to that in a minute, but at least for right now, I'm excited. We finally broke the curse. We're heading to a decider matchup. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. One final matchup in Canadian Challenge League for Day 1, Stage 2 is coming up right after this break. We found it. The mystical map 3 has been located for the first time in CL. We're making a big deal out of this because we haven't been able to actually see any decider games through the entirety of the first day of USCL and all the way up through Canadian Challenger League until right now. Cafe Dostoevsky is scheduled to be our next battleground between Oceanus and Depth. I'm Caliber Jacob, he is Crow. Map 2 was a heater because no 23 kills on Pulse and IQ.
Yeah, wow.
We're still kind of recovering from it.
Mind blown. That dude dropped 23, and he was 23 and 10. It's not very. First, it's not often that we see that kind of kill count with over a 2.0 KD. So, and that is absolutely insane from Nova. And now we get to move into Cafe, and Cafe should be. Let's see, we've had Phoenix step up, we've had Nova step up.
We had Prophet also going pretty big, even though that was a loss. So that was another
fun fact. For Depth, on Oregon, it was Jammer and Exod on double-digit frags, and in Villa, it was the other three.
Everyone else got double digits except for those guys. So they're kind of like, well, we did our thing. We're just gonna go ahead and clock out. We'll let everyone else just kind of take the frags for us instead.
Yeah, just like Phoenix had double on Oregon, and then Nova, Kibbs, and Duncan had double on Oceanus. The only person left is Gooby. Cafe, Gooby, we're looking at you.
It's Gooby's time.
It's your time to shine.
Oceanus' brand new IGL is about to step up and claim that he's worthwhile. But something that I did want to touch on briefly before we end up heading into Cafe. We have a different look OCG. I was about to be like, oh, well, this is the, they still win their map pick, but they drop Oregon 7-4. They're not able to force full rounds, and they still win Villa, but they win it practically by the skin of their own teeth. It's not nearly as dominant as we might expect from a team that placed third in stage 1. Depth, on the other hand, are looking way tougher, way faster, way more put together, which is a thing that it's really happy to see, because if they placed in 7th last stage, they managed to retain their spot because the team above them disbands, and now we're seeing this kind of resurgence with a brand new org in their corner in Depth Esports. They've turned things around. OCG, I think, have regressed slightly, even though it's still correctable. And if you win the match, that's really all that matters. It still doesn't look like they're nearly at the same strength that they were in stage 1.
Yeah, they've kind of taken either. I don't know if it's that. I think it's a combination, right? OCG back a little, and Depth is looking a hell of a lot better than they did last game. So far, all of Canada has kind of been a little bit of a surprise, right? Everyone had the slats slated to win. They fell 0-2 to Honor. PDHM ended up upsetting over Slaughterhouse, who won their previous match in stage 1. I think the only one that went according to plan so far has been Oblivion Windstorm. Or Oblivion, of course, the number 2 team against kind of a newly inducted Windstorm. Everyone kind of expected Oblivion to win. Although Oblivion did have to mount a pretty major comeback on Oregon. Windstorm had the advantage and Oblivion had a comeback, so even then, that's a little bit of an unexpected. So far, Canada's definitely been really interesting.
And I don't know if that's... We won't see matchups that are quite nearly as upset-like, I think, heading into the next batch of games that happen next week in either the US or Canada, because that's where you put the teams that won up against the other teams that won, and then it's kind of more of a slugfest, and then it really can turn into a situation where you expect either side to win. In this case, we had a lot more games that were like slated to go one direction that in some cases still went the other, and it makes for a different dynamic from days 1 to 2 because you're putting the winners against the winners and the losers against the losers, but it still takes one full day before we're actually able to get to that stage. It's made for a really interesting first weekend, and it's been a lot of fun to watch on all sides of things, though I do hope that we're actually able to get into Cafe, because I believe we're dealing with a small little logistics problem, and I'm 90% certain Twitch chat can probably figure out what it is because they already did that.
We haven't said anything about it, but Twitch chat, when it wants to be, certainly have some semblance.
It also wasn't hard to figure out, to be fair. But
yeah, that is true. It was kind of in front of all of our faces right at the end. We didn't really have a choice. So we're just trying to figure out what the deal with that is before we get to the last map, because of course, we can't kill that. It kind of sucks because we're riding off the high of Villa. I was so excited to get into Cafe, and then they've got to be like, no, you have to wait.
Well, we'll keep on waiting and see if we can stall out for as long as we can. The only problem with stalling out is that all of a sudden we lose a whole bunch of really good talking points that we could bring up in the middle of the match. So maybe we need to not talk about OCG in depth just for a second.
Yeah.
That
Let's
way
not go
we can kind of save that.
Ah,
I love and hate that we have a team named that in the league at the moment.
yeah, they're both water themed too. Oceanus.
Oh, it's true.
Depth. Do we have any other? No, those are our only water themed. Right.
I think, and that's not just over CL either.
No.
Nah.
Windstorm, no.
Windstorm, I was really kind of expecting them to be like more, hey, like who has a tornado themed team? I'm like, Windstorm sounds pretty dope.
Yeah. I don't know, I was thinking maybe like if it was like a cyclone or something, but their logo is just, it's just the letters.
For Windstorm, I was pulling a weird thing. There's a Russian team called Windstrike. And back when we were casting in stage 1 for the VODs, when it was Red Cube and myself, I was calling them Windstrike just because that just made sense to me. And I was like, man, that's only a little bit awkward. Yeah. All right. Well, we do have to go through and get this exact logistics problem sorted out. We'll be back at some point once we allow the admins to look over this entire situation. We would love to jump right into Cafe, but for the moment, don't touch that browser tab. We'll be back after we get things all figured out.
Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now.
Welcome back, friends. Sorry for the technical delay. We're trying to go through and sort out a couple of logistics problems. The very, very short version of the situation. So we had someone go for a protest, but because of when the protest occurred after the match was over as opposed to when it was still running, it will not count, which means that we are heading into Cafe Map 3 as scheduled, again, for the first time we've ever had a decider map played in CL up until this point.
Yeah, so the general consensus right now is that I know some people in chat were talking about it too, but the protest for a skin has to be done in the actual map itself for the MVP screen. But for some reason, I'm definitely really confused about why Depth waited that long, because it does do that like that zoom in thing on the player that killed you
right
on their head, And it wasn't an illegal uniform, it was an illegal headgear. And Nova certainly killed them a lot. So
we had the protest happen after the match was over. We didn't see any like chat messages or anything either being like calling it out like publicly or anything, or anything to suggest that there was some communication that was made towards the admins of this game at any point during the match itself. But we'll still be heading right back into Cafe and decide how the series is going to end as soon as all of the players are back in the lobby. So for right now, still got to stick with our faces until that gets sorted out, because for the moment it doesn't seem as though we're quite ready yet.
Yeah, however many players we need, we don't have a magic start button. We're waiting for 4 players. Who is it? I was saying, oh crap. I remember when someone was like, I hate it when the casters literally hold the stream hostage. I have my family. It won't let me start the stream.
Nope.
But yeah, it's not our fault. Please don't blame us. We're just waiting for the players to slowly matriculate into the lobby. I don't know how many we're waiting for now. What did I say? 4? Something like that?
At the moment, yeah, it's 4.
Less than half the lobby.
Was a lot more at one point because we're still trying to get everyone scrambled in, and this entire process took long enough that I think the lobby itself expired, so we've had to go back and re-invite everybody. Just par for the course when you're dealing with players in T2, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, though, I am kind of happy that this is going to a map 3, if only because I didn't feel as though it... I said it back when Oregon was over and we were heading to Villa. I said I don't believe that this is the best battleground on which to decide OCG's fate, because Depth was up by 1 map, but then OCG comes roaring back off a 23-kill game from Nova. Something we should also point out, by the way, we also can't call Villa the 20-bomb map, because when Yaga did it...
it was on Oregon.
It was on Oregon for map 1 between both The Last Dance and Ape from yesterday morning. So there's still been 2 20 bombs, and right now Nova still does very clearly have the record for the most kills over the course of a single map. We might actually be able to factor in the amount of kills that he got over the course of the series at some point to figure out, it might not even be him. If there was someone who had 2 really solid performances over the other 2 maps that they played previously, then we might have more. But because we're heading to a 3rd game, if Nova pops off, then he might have both the individual map and the series records locked down for stage 2.
Isn't Yeti the current holder of the CL map count or map kill record? Didn't he get like a 30
in terms of single
bomb?
maps?
Yeah, I thought he got. Didn't he get like 30 in one?
How long ago was this? Season 10 would have had to have been.
I think it was season 10. I want to say it was on Bank.
Was he playing Buck for most of that one?
10. I think so. I can't remember.
This one this one will probably warrant us going back and doing a double check on real fast.
We have the time.
We do. All right. Challenger League Season 10, North America. The season that Obey Alliance won that one. Now we're seeing most of their players come back in CL in some capacity. Let's see. Do you remember who they were playing? Does any name ring a bell?
I don't. I just remember it was Yeti. What if I put Yeti's name in the search?
Might be worth it to ask the man.
Oh, Yeti breaks kill record? ? Oh, he dropped 25 against Orgless.
Let's double check and see if that one lines up.
The online CL record, I guess. Yeah. This was posted 11 months ago, so I think that is season 10, right?
It would have had to, yeah, because he wasn't playing in season 11 at that point. He was already with the Obey Alliance core, and they were playing under the United banner in season 11 of Pro League back then. So I believe, looking through the rest of this, I'm looking for, it was a game against Orgos. Oh, that would have been a game Disruptive versus the X-Parallax roster, if I remember right.
Yeah, and then I know because, what was it, Shaiko had the LAN record, which was 25, and then Palu broke it with 27. Rampy had 22 kills on Coast, which was the record, and then I think Citizen broke it with 23.
But that was a Tokoname, right?
No, I think that was online.
Was it online? I swear, I remember Citizen going big in Tokoname, but I don't remember if there was a record associated with that one or not.
Oh no, that was
the plot thickens.
That was at Tokoname.
Oh, it was? Yes, I knew I had that one right.
Do I look up Rainbow Six Pro League kill record?
This is worthwhile to go check. Nova could very well have broken something more substantial. It's just a matter if there's someone who has something higher than he does for one map.
He matched Citizen's 23 kill record.
That's still pretty damn impressive.
However, Citizens was on land. This wasn't. This was online.
Right.
Damn, all the postings I'm seeing are from like 2019.
I mean, yeah, that is about right. September 27th to October 29th is when Challenge League Season 10 took place. That's when Yeti was playing for Disrupt. Actually, there might be a full stats thing that I can go back and check. Our friends at CHGG are always wonderful with providing us with stuff, and at the moment, as I said, we are still waiting.
If anyone in chat knows too, feel free to.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll see it. We'll see it on a
ratings.
5-minute delay, but go ahead and let us know whenever it shows up. We do have chat spilled over here. We are still waiting for everyone from both teams to get back into the lobby. We've had to reform it because the protest process took long enough. The half-hour timer just straight up expired, so we will head back into it as soon as everyone is in. And Cafe Dostoevsky is still up on the cards, but for right now, you get to watch two CL casters do research on a statistic that we honestly probably should have checked out before the season started, but it is what it is.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just trying to distract myself, keep myself preoccupied and entertained.
They do be like that sometimes.
Oh, yo, yeah, let's go. We're in the game.
Oh,
Finally.
baby.
I can stop trying to milk what little I have on the scene, and we can finally get into this game. It is the first decider map all of Challenger League Stage 2, or NA Challenger League Stage 2, and it will be on, I mean, what more fitting battleground than Cafe?
I actually went back and found it. You ready?
You did?
Game
Okay.
from Disrupt Gaming versus Orgless, the X-Parallax team. On bank, Yeti was 24-6. 24. If that's the current overall CL record, Nova was 1 away during that Villa game. One.
Ooh.
1 away from tying the thing. Man, so close. But yet so far.
We were this close to greatness.
We were this close. At the end of the day, though, yep. I think you can have a performance as star-studded as that one, but now it genuinely does come down to how well OCG performs on Villa. They begin on attack. I would say this is more of an advantage for OCG just because they'll have to go to defense later, and Cafe most assuredly is not a meta flipper at all. It's not like Villa in the slightest. In this case, if you're on defense, you wholeheartedly have the advantage because of how utterly massive Cafe is in comparison to a lot of other maps in the pool.
Yeah, and Thatcher Maverick, obviously very standard. Wamai also now a very, very standard man. You can see by the way the players are, talking back and forth in chat. I don't think there's any hard feelings after the way that protest went, which is always nice. It's always nice to see the players able to kind of banter around and have lighthearted chat while the game is going on. They were kind of doing that in the last map too, with all the good knights and stuff. You could tell these players are all familiar with each other. And Malusi, the last one, of course, Malusi also being a very annoying operator to deal with. So Wamai and Malusi off the board makes it a little bit easier to wade through all the utility on the defense. But of course, you still have to deal with the likes of Smoke Shield. You still have to deal with Jaeger. You still have to deal with Maestro and another operator who is very known on Cafe, the Goyo.
Something that we've noticed over the course of many Cafe games, especially in the past, I guess, 2 to 3 months or so, has been this site, Bar Cocktail, has kind of fallen out of favor. Not necessarily out of meta, but it's one that we haven't seen played out very often. I want to say the North American League primary games for the United States division, at the very least, have not featured that much Bar Cocktail play. And that just goes from VOD reviews and watching the games like when they're happening live. It's just more like you can use Bar Cocktail to position yourself above a bomb site and then try to waste as much time a floor or even 2 floors above the objective. It's almost very rarely ever played these days, but there still are a lot of default setups. It's a lot of horizontal play, and this site, probably more so than any other site on Cafe, plays out almost the exact same time, the same way. It's almost as stale, dare I say, as almost any site on Border back when it was in the rotation.
Bar, a lot of teams kind of like avoiding Bar too. I noticed there are a lot of teams that would rather go Reading and Kitchen first. Sometimes teams don't even touch Bar. This seems that Dev do like the site. Now I'm very glad that they're holding it differently, right? This is not a setup we see too much anymore because Wamai's banned. We don't even have a Maestro to hold Cocktail down. Echo's banned from play, so we're not going to see him. No Goyo. This is cool, right? We have Wall Denial from the Bandit. We've got Drone Denial from the Mobsy. Legion coming out from Jammer as well. Probably, I assume Jammer's probably going to be the one to hold down, like, by Pallets and by White. But this is a very, not necessarily a very different style of defending, but a style of defending that's almost fallen by the wayside because of the advent of utility stokes. So it's a bit refreshing.
even in the midst of the meta that we're currently in, you wouldn't think that it would make a site exciting, but it still has the potential to do that. OCG's attack situated on the top, droning almost all the way down the red stairs side of the map, and just try to make sure that they have as much cleared out as possible. Toasty is picking up a more aggressive position closer to the windows on piano than most teams would probably want to take. We do have a Wamai band out, which means the only anti-projectile op that we have on the board is Jaeger, but I don't believe there's also a shield set up in Pixel, so the way that this is defended from depth is already beginning to take a bit of a different hold.
Oh, wow! Phoenix is gonna get slammed by Toasty. What a shot there, and already, I'm so glad. I'm already excited, man. We waited long enough. I thought maybe the high from Villa was gonna die down, but now that we're actually in the action, I am so glad. Toasty does take a beating. Phoenix able to get shots off before his retreat, but still, Toasty comes away with that first pick, and oh, nearly the wall bang coming out from Jammer through the humidor. I don't know what the comp call is for that, but I know it's also called the humidor, so I'm gonna keep calling it that. And yet again, Nova, the man coming off 23 kills, gets slammed, and Toasty for the double on no HP. He goes for the jump out. High risk, high reward. Reward it will. Now trying to rotate back down White. Of course, the attacker's aware of that position, but no one to capitalize just yet. The Jackal trying to find the pick, but in the meantime, his only teammate goes down. And just like that, it's a 1v5 for Kibs.
Yep, everything's pretty promptly fallen into place for depth. That's mostly off the backs of Toasty going for ridiculous runouts and playing aggressive by the piano windows, and it should be his feet that are detected by Gibbs and see if he can't go hunting to try to get one of these kills. I need you to not repeat that word when it's not coming out of your mouth.
I couldn't resist. I haven't done that yet this game, so I just kind of had to.
Right, because Jackal's never been played. You can't just bust out and go, feet. What does that accomplish, Crow?
I said feet, excuse you. I added my patented Actually, no, I did make a feat. Remember when Phoenix was prone in Aviator and Prophet saw his legs and shot them? I called him Feetnix.
Okay,
I
yeah,
have
but
made a feat
that's a clever play on words that makes everyone think that without seeing you, you're probably a 35-year-old dad. But it really just do be like that sometimes.
I'm the opposite. I look like I'm a 13-year-old child.
Well, yeah, I know. You look like you're 13 and somehow you still look older than Jesse Chick.
Do I really?
I don't know how you managed to pull that off, but in the right context, absolutely. And the man, I think, is a year older than you, and somehow,
yes,
if you put the two of you next to one another, it absolutely flips itself like that.
Hell yeah! All right, I got it over someone in the community.
We love you, Jesse. We love you, but sometimes it's too easy, man.
Jesse's a cutie.
Jesse's a king, man.
We're gonna go down to kitchen after Jeff successfully took bar. Dude, I just want to say that was such a cool setup. Shame we didn't really actually get to see how the setup worked because Toasty just killed everyone before anything actually happened. But still, we're gonna continue the trend of the only utility soap being Jaeger, who was fully in the meta before that anyway, and Smoke Shield. They're still bringing Bandit and Jacob. We have a resurgence of what many people consider to be one of the greatest metas in Siege. It's the Mute Mozzie.
Oh, yes.
I missed the
Mute Mozzie. We've had Glaz Ying, we've had Jaeger Wamai, but before Jaeger Wamai, we had Mute Mozzie. The best combo in Siege. Muzi, as we call them.
That's a player on Myth.
Not to be mistaken for an NIP player also named Muzi.
Maybe we should call him Mott.
Why does that sound like? Isn't there like a brand of apple juice called Mott's or something?
Mott's, yeah.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Nova gets a little bit of damage done from piano, but Darkin will be the first one to nab a kill as Toasty, the man with 3 kills in the previous round, isn't able to net another one here. He'll just be told to sit down by the L85 of Darkin, as he'll stay on the upside down rappel and see if he can't find a little bit more intelligence before making his way off the window. The rest of OCG also appear to be worming their way back down. There wasn't a lot of top floor roam from depth, which makes it really easy once you have enough drone intel. And even though OCG seem like there isn't too much pressure up top, they're still kind of taking their time. Phoenix is still at the top of Brown, not worming his way down until he drones first, and Nova's trying to look for an angle directly below mining.
Now, I do love Toasty. but I am a little bit thankful about his early death because now that he's not allowed to run around and kill literally everyone on the map, we get to take a bit of a step back and see how the defenders have set themselves up. Now, Regrets pushing out will frag Nova through the floor, and I believe he was the player in coat check, exiled by Bakery, Profit over wherever Profit is currently, and I think Jammer was the one back towards Freezer. So, interesting setup from Depth. Not a lot of dedication on the site itself, more kind of everyone kind of controlling the outskirts and ready to fall back, and there we go. Another kill the way of Depth as a C4 wipes Gooby off the face of the earth. Ace dead. Now that we actually see Ace in play, he's probably going to be played every single round, and there's the refrag. Jammer goes down inside of coat check. So now, the advantage, well, never mind. We'll slip away from Oceanus once again as Exile gets the second kill of the round on the Kibs. It's Phoenix and Darkin, the last two now trying to make their way to Bakery, and another kill, make that 3 on the round for Phoenix as he completely wipes away the Bakery pressure by himself. It's all up to Regrets. Smoke, shotgun in hand, 2 gas grenades and 25 seconds on the clock. He can effectively deny this entire push, but 1 pump isn't enough. Darkin swings around for the trade, and Oceanus take round 2.
Phoenix takes that round by the balls and just doesn't let go the entire duration. He just absolutely was not about to let that one slip through his fingers, was he now?
No, I mean, he was like, all right, guys, things are slipping away, but don't worry, I'm on red. And just walked in and killed everyone. So Phoenix and Toasty trading 3K blows. And I mean, if it wasn't for Phoenix, I don't think that round would have gone well at all, right? I mean, they had coat check, they had a guy in prep, they had a guy behind Bakery counter, and a guy in sight. Darkin and Phoenix with no hard breach whatsoever were just kind of forced to push Bakery. If Phoenix hadn't gotten, I mean, even after he kills the guy Kochek, if he doesn't tag on for 2 more, that round is done and dusted. So big ups to him.
Depth are looking for some more recourse on a site that's not Kitchen now. No, they're actually going back to it. Remember, this was something we talked about, if only very briefly, about how neither OCG or Depth was really that keen to go back to a repeat site if it didn't work the first time, but what are your other options? If you're still kind of playing this the normal way, I guess you want to stick to just the better 2 sites, which in this case would just be Bar Cocktail and then Kitchen Prep. The only difference being the way in which you play Cafe has metamorphed into something so different because of the willingness the teams now have to go for a second floor bomb site as opposed to just sticking with these 2. The reason why I don't think Depth are going for something that matches up with more current Cafe gameplay is because they went to Bar Cocktail first, and the amount of times that we see that played these days, especially at a T1 level, just it's not nearly the same. So I wonder if they're kind of sticking to an older method of thinking when it comes to defending this bomb site.
Yeah, I think we can also defend their, did I say? We can support their decision to defend Kitchen once again. Because, you know, again, if Phoenix doesn't pop off, the Depth have that lockdown. If they just play a little bit more conservatively towards the end of that round, there's nothing Oceanus can do. So Depth were just on the verge of taking the round, and they'll opt to try again. Figure, you know, the strat was solid. We just lost out in the gunfights. Now, Phoenix seeming like, you know, get a really good map 1, slowed down map 2, and that's where Nova took over. Seems like Phoenix is going to have a little bit of a resurgence, especially after that 3K. His shot has come back to him, and here's the early entry down White Stairs as Oceanus look to yet again apply that vertical pressure first thing foremost in this round.
They're getting the drone coverage for Phoenix that he needs as well, and it's more a matter of whether he's able to strike first or if he gets taken down right off the rip. Whenever he's managing to find a frag, OCG are able to get kills. He died in one of the first 2 engagements on round number 1, but then cleans up with a 3K on round number 2. It's not quite the same situation as Stove back for PDHM versus Slaughterhouse, where if he died, they lost the round, and you can literally attribute the number of rounds lost by PDHM to whether or not Stove is still alive. That's not quite the same case with Phoenix. It's a pretty darn close statistic. It's not exact.
Yeah, well, I mean, it certainly wasn't the case really with any of the other players, at least in this game, I don't think. Yeah, everyone had a death rate far larger than the round count. It was a very high kill game for both sides. Now, Oceanus will apply their pressure and exact their will on the site below, but Toasty quick to shut down Phoenix. No successful entry in this round. Nearly the wall bang comes out, but Toasty will persist and in fact get a second for this Nitro Cell. Darkin goes down, but there's Nova on Overwatch to frag out Profit. So 2-for-1 trade, but you lose Phoenix, who's been fantastic on the entry, and you use Sledge. So all that hard breach you just did, the exception of the breach you targeted for Nova, that's all you're gonna get, and never mind, Nova dead too, no more soft breach.
All of a sudden, all that pressure that OCG had on the top floor has been taken completely out of their grasp because of Depth looking up and pressing mouse 1. Gibbs and Gooby, full HP with diffuser in hand, but only 22 seconds left, and Gibbs almost looks like he's waiting for someone to just go for an aggressive peek, and Depth say, nah, we've got objective control, we don't need to do anything stupid. Gibbs actually gets hit on the crossfire, I'm believing, through the rotate. Gooby has double smokes covered. That's a blind fire right through the smoke, and Regrets actually grabs both kills with smoke cover. It doesn't matter. Depth has all the aim power in the world. It doesn't even mean they have the ability to go for a plant. I guess that's kind of a standard spot to put it, though. Regrets had that telegraphed pretty well. If you're putting down a smoke and you're running through that rotate, there's not too many places to plant, and he might have even heard a sound cue if Ace was going for the defusal, but by that point, I don't even think it was possible.
Yeah, I mean, do you think Oceanus are regretting how they pushed that?
I mean, yeah, but they also still had a pretty good amount of top floor control.
It's because his name is Regrets.
Oh.
Damn it.
I just pulled a Kickstarter moment not reacting to a joke properly, didn't I?
I can't believe you. Also, like, I think my favorite thing about his name is that he's got the ellipses after his name, so it's like Regrets.
It's almost like pain, but a little bit more extended.
Yeah.
Right?
Instead of pain being in the moment, regret being the past tense of pain.
Pain Gaming was a roster that was in Latin America for a really long time too.
They got relegated.
Yeah, they got relegated from that. They got relegated from BR6, and then Pain just went. Yeah, we've kind of had enough, and then just noped out.
Lots of pain.
Lots of pain.
Lots of
and
regret.
Pain Gaming's roster really made them regret picking up that team, but that's Latin America from like season 8, season 9. Go ahead and bring it back.
With, wait, hold on.
Do you remember the roster?
Yuna, GCR.
Oh dear God, here we go.
GDN. Oh,
Keep going. You're getting close.
Damn it! All right, I'll think of it later. I'll think of it later.
You're going like you can go right back to the dock and be like, all right, I figured out exactly who else where.
That's the minimum to stay in pro leagues. That's good enough.
We're really trying to use any loophole here to make sure that his Crow's absolute wizardry with remembering Siege rosters still remains relevant, even if it's only 3 months. Anyway, here's the site set up from OCG. It looks to be Nova pressuring from down below and seeing if there isn't anyone on the opposite side of the map from where he's sitting on reading door. Gooby's with him and going for the drone, but Nova's not opting to peek just yet. And the rest of OCG currently playing upstairs on the hatches. Darken maybe looking for a peek down onto Cocktail from the skylight. Rest of Depth, again, you're focusing mostly on horizontal roaming at this stage because, actually, I think all 4 rounds up to this point have been more a focus on Depth, staying on the same floor as the bomb site and not really going up or down as a result. Aside from what Toasty has done, especially on the first round when he got 3 kills, one of which being on a run out, he just kind of went haywire, but the rest of Depth really just opted to stick close to bomb.
Yeah, so this is not something we see too often, right? Because of the advent of Sledge kind of forcing himself in the meta due to the lack of nades on the clock. So it's been a while since we've seen this vertical soft destruction in reading, but Exod will kill Gooby and yet again wipe the soft breach off the face of the map. Unfortunate for Gooby, he's got no kills. He just cannot catch a break right now as Phoenix gets lit up through the floor and does not deal any damage in return. XG so far in this round, I mean, they've taken a decent bit of control of the middle floor, but their top floor exposure has not been great. They've taken damage from above, dealt none, and their only source of hard breach is dead, so say goodbye to trying to open up those piano walls. Phoenix at least able to get a refrag on the Legion, but, I mean, that's not really much of a condolence to losing Ace.
No, it really isn't. But the thing with that is it's just another nuisance that you're able to take out of play when you desperately don't want to worry about Legion mines, especially when going for a plant. OCG trying to make the odds even more in their favor as Kibbs will take down the smoke, so you can't even area deny effectively at this stage. And Darken maybe looking for an opportunity to plant. There are no smokes in the back pocket, seeing as Gooby has perished, but it just comes down to a frag fest for OCG. Nova and now Phoenix finally on 2 different portions of the map. It falls on Prophet to find 4 kills, but Darken's already on the bomb site, not even anywhere close to where Depth is, and let's try to maybe force a Nitro back out on the window, and it still doesn't net anything. Darkin gets the diffuser down. Prophet really just kind of looking for exit kills at this stage because OCG are still on a lot of windows. They'll get full flash. They'll get the whole 9 yards of pressure. At the end of the day, he might even be able to grab a kill on his way back out. Actually, no, he will not. Gibbs grabs another 1-2 for him on the round. Prophet falls after not being able to turn a perfectly manageable 4v1, I might add, into a clutch situation. Why couldn't you just do it, Prophet? You were popping off last game. What happened, man? Come on.
Just click him, dude. Your name is literally Prophet. Just
Come on!
expect where the enemy players are going to be. Prophesize, man. I call false advertising.
Prophesize. Testify.
But that push was completely telegraphed as soon as Phoenix went downstairs, right? The only reason you're ever going to buck upstairs or buck upwards from reading the cocktail is usually so you can either deny an Echo or a Maestro, or with how much OCG were repelling, go for a cocktail push. And yet, somehow, Depth just were not able to adapt to that. They got cut down on the angles. Darkin able to get the plant down. 1v4 not going to really happen. Now, 2-2 on Cafe. Surprisingly, though, typically a defender-sided map, we're dead even. And it's one-on-one on both sides. Bar going the way of each team once, and Kitchen going the way of each team once, and this will be the round to break that trend. We'll be going to Bar yet again. Depth with attempt number 2.
Yeah, but the thing about this is I think Depth are doing their best to avoid going to reading or fireplace or mining literally at all. They have the option to go for either one of those two and not go back to Bar Cocktail again if they so chose, but they now have the option for the entirety of their defense half to just not worry about it at all, and they can still end this half in a 4-2 advantage before moving on to the attack. That's absolutely possible. You can sight dodge, but it's honestly more of a matter of whether or not you're just able to win your sights in the first place. I think Jammer may have had a shot, but he just pops off a bit of the line. Yeah, there's no chance he peeks that, right?
Going for a spawn peek. Oh, wait. Oh! GCR, Yuna, Revolts, FK1, and spawns.
We're still on
Let's
the Pain
go!
Gaming thing! Oh,
I
my
remembered
Lord.
it!
I guess we can't really focus on the future of Siege without paying a tribute to its past, but...
I said spawn peek, and I was like, wait, wasn't there a guy named that? And I remembered the whole roster. That was right after Pain dropped their old roster and picked up Yeah Gaming in 2018? I think 2018.
How in the world did we come full circle on this reference? I'm so confused. Welcome to what happens when we have to play a decider game. The streams have been going for 9 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your brand new quality of Challenge League streams. I'm not going to disagree with that. Actually, I will, but we'll do it in garbage time. Both Phoenix keeps grabbing a kill each at this stage in the round, and now Toasty and Regrets. It's Regrets again, not having a lot of impact. He's not playing smoke this time around, he's instead playing the mute, but again, you lose area denial just by not having the smoke in your back pocket to begin with. So
he was playing Pixel too.
Yeah, he was giving it a shot. It's a lot harder to play without a Wamai on the board, which is why that ban is so detrimental and why OCG probably went for it, but I think it's still definitely manageable. OCG have almost all of no control. If Nova wants to storm through Cigar, he might have a pick, but be content to get some more intel before making his move.
Yeah, Regrets not having a shield. And Exod also trying to retake the position, regrettably, albeit. Jammer also gonna fall to Nova, and it is just an absolute bloodbath with Depth finding themselves on the wrong side of it. Prophet trying to ascend up the white stairs and do what he can to rip things back in his favor so slightly with maybe a single pick. Can't find the one all the way in Piano, does a little bit of damage, but won't land the shots. He's droned out now, so they know he's still stuck inside of pallets. Another player drops to the skylight, deals damage, and Nova is the one to finish things off. It's a flawless round from Oceanus, and they will take Bar and increase their record. Now 2-1, attacking what a lot of people consider to be a very favorable site. Now Oceanus find themselves on the lead in their attacking half.
Yep. Heading back to Kitchen is exactly what I thought. We're not worrying about the first floor bomb sites at all unless OCG want to pick it themselves. Previous round is a little bit of difference, obviously, in where the kills were coming from and overall player position, but at the end of the day, that's a 5-4 versus 1 disadvantage, and Prophet has to come off of his roam wherever he is on the map and come back upstairs trying to go for a couple of picks at the very end in garbage time. Prophets is probably wondering, hey, can you guys keep things together, please? Hey, please, don't die yet. Oh my god. And then he has to go right back up the staircase up white and try to go for a pick or two. It's just the rest of Depth are not able to stall out OCG on Bar Cocktail, so they won't go for it again. Because if you were to go back to a site 3 times in a row, I swear we would almost be back on Armory on Border because, oh man, the amount of times that site got played back to back to back in Challenger League, not something I want to re-experience on any other map. I desperately do not.
Yeah, hopefully we won't get that again, but right now, Oceanus looking really good. Looking pretty damn good. Unfortunately, Toasty, who has been the shining light for depth, the Ghosty.
Left before insertion.
Well, he can be Ghosty. It's October.
I mean, you probably have to fight Ghost on Beast Coast for the naming rights, but yeah, you still could.
Ghost doesn't have an
Attacker's
E
objective is to
or a
locate
Y.
bomb and
Or a
defuse
Y.
the
I was thinking more
Yeah,
Y.
I
Yeah.
was saying E as the sound.
You could do Ghosty with 2
Yeah.
E's instead of that,
true.
or
Ghosty.
Ghost with IE maybe, or Ghost with 3 E's. You could
Either way.
really go out there.
Ghosty is indeed the GOAT for his team right now, but unfortunately Oceanus a little bit more put together, especially on that push. I mean, they just took Piano. Depth decided, hey, you know, we're trying not to lean into utility soak. Let's hold Pixel anyway. And it just didn't work. They threw 2 bodies at it, and they both fell relative ease to the side of Oceanus. And from there, they used the long angles opened up by the ace. Gooby with a kill, actually surviving in the round. And you see, that's what happens when you're heart breaching. Gets their job done. Curiously enough,
At that moment, I almost thought Gooby was about to be the one to die to the Nitro, but instead it's Nova. I'm just like, oh hey, Gooby, do something. Dead. Nope.
I was
it's
gonna
not the case.
I was gonna say, curiously enough, I don't even remember, and then Nova got C4 and I completely lost my train of thought.
All right, it's fine. It's why you got someone else to cover for you. I got you, buddy. So here's the play. Phoenix is already beginning to storm down White Stairs. We do have one more floor to get through, but again, Depth aren't putting too much focus on defending the top floors as much as they are the floor that the bomb site currently resides on. So any of the holes that Oceanus can open up will be opened up without too much of a fight if there is anyone going for a roam up top. It hasn't been identified by OCG, but no, Depth is pretty confident where they're at. One behind the bar, one sitting in VIP, and everyone else pretty much on the same site. So Depth aren't necessarily being complacent. To allow your opponents to have this much map control is still something that works out, because you'd much rather take fights head on and not from a top floor perspective, but because now, oh, it's a 3v5 as opposed to just a 4v5, Depth are sitting pretty comfortably, and all they have to do is hope that OCG abandon going for a top floor pressure and maybe just force their way downstairs and take fights more head on. So it's more of a fair advantage rather than somebody having the high ground.
OCG looking to claw things back, and there's Phoenix trying his best. 1 kill down onto Exod through the floor, but the Jaeger pretty much starved of utility at this point as his ADSs are already expended. Not necessarily the kill you're looking for, especially because there's still 2 C4s on the board and 2 more gas canisters in the pocket of Regrets, who can delay basically about 20 or so seconds. And I mean, especially with the way prep is and the way the breach is with Ace, they're very thin, they're not very wide areas of attack, so it's pretty damn easy for the smoke canisters to just choke it off. Phoenix now positioning himself by the carpet stairs will deal a little bit of damage of Toast, but there's still someone all the way back towards Restaurant, I believe? I can't quite see, but there's the gas canisters and there's the saw of the push, but Gooby is just, okay, he's just gonna walk right into it. Phoenix finds a kill nonetheless, but Gooby's been down. Diffuser recovered, and it's gonna be planted behind the bomb chassis. Is there a C4? No, there is not. They're all out, and wow, what insane cover from Phoenix! He lands on them, but no, Depth, they're able to down the planter, and they'll protect the bombs despite the cover from Phoenix. And it'll be the round and the half, going tied over towards Depth.
All right, well, not the worst thing in the world for Depth to go on their defense half. You want to know the trend that we've fallen into, though? Oregon, 3-3 at the half. Villa, 3-3 at the half. Cafe, you guessed it, it's an even split between both teams without fail. It also hasn't been a very streaky game. We're talking about a whole bunch of circumstances earlier with North America turning into one team wins a whole bunch in a row, then you go and switch sides, and then the team on that same side of the ball also gets a whole bunch of rounds in a row. This has been a close contest back and forth the entire way, even leading us all the way to overtime match point. All 15 rounds on Villa. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stand going more than, what, if I do my full round counts back. It'd be 15 on Villa. We could go 15 on Cafe. Add that to 11 from Oregon. We'd be here for a full 47. I wouldn't be here for that long, man. These teams are great, obviously, but who had any idea that this matchup would be this close coming into it?
Yeah, especially, again, the do you call it? The 3rd place team versus the 7th place team. It's certainly commendable for depth, you know, coming away from
10 seconds to go.
a stage where they didn't necessarily have the best performance in the world to now going toe-to-toe with
5 seconds to
OCG. Now, OCG are going to lean back into the utility soak meta, going so far as to bring not only a Goyo, but also a shield on Valkyrie. So, they saw the way Depth were playing, and they were like, wow, Depth, you guys are playing a different style of defense than that's meta? That's cool! Okay, back to default.
No, we'll just go back and do it our way normally for the first time. I'll still keep on questioning why this site ends up being the go-to one, but hey, if you're able to make it work, at the end of the day, fuck trends. You don't have to worry about what someone else is doing. If you are capable of taking over default sites the way that everyone else has for ages, and you don't think the formula needs any changing, don't worry about what anyone else says and just go for it yourself. That seems to be what both Depth and OCG are opting to do. Go back to what's familiar and don't worry about changing up your strategy too much.
Yeah, so it was refreshing for at least the first half before we went back into utility soak. I don't think Kibbs has been droned out. Alright, he C4'd the hatch, and now they know exactly where he is. They try wall banging, but as Exod tries to catch the Goyo rotating down, he'll take a shot, actually, I think through the floor. He'll take a little bit of damage, and Kibbs will continue to roam free, though the vertical presence, not as big of a deal, because that's their only C4 now expended, since Valkyrie has a shield. So, I mean, I guess, you know, at least you get away with your life, so you still got a gun on the board, just no explosive utility, and the only plant denial on the board really will be the smokes.
Yeah, the only one with explosives still left is Darkened with 1 impact left, and, I mean, sure, you can probably use that for something, but comparative to a Nitro Cell, it doesn't have nearly the same amount of impact denial. Prophet will open up the kill feed as Nova will be the one taken down. He's not having nearly as much of an explosive game as he did on Villa. He's still trying to find his footing on defense on Cafe. It's something that, you know, you can do with time, but it's not nearly as insane of a game that he was having through the first 7 rounds. More of this intelligence will be nullified as the Maestro cam gets taken down by Toasty, who ever since we got onto this half has been a little bit quiet. He's had 5 kills, but most of them came in the first 3 to maybe even 2 rounds, and he hasn't done much since. Nexod's still playing down below. Ever since Kibbs rotated through the fireplace hatch, he's basically been sitting in there uncontested, but he also hasn't been able to make much impact on the cocktail.
There's Toasty going down to Kibbs, though, so the Goyo, who had rotated down previously, makes his presence known and is immediately wiped off the board by Exod. Oh, they can see the gun barrel of all the Maestro's hands getting lifted up by Regrets, but no kill just yet. Gooby falls, and the prompted will Prophet will try and get that plant down. 1 kill in the way of Freezer. Maestro refrags 1, but it's not enough to deny plant, and Darken's alone, full blind, stuck inside of Cocktail. 1v3 post plant, and the diffuser is in the middle of the bar. So there's no cover for him to try and ninja defuse either. He's gonna have to try and find all 3 of these kills in 30 seconds, or make it just about 23 since it is 7 seconds to get that defuse. Going on top of the bar stand, he fishes for any kills he can find, but after playing very passively, but as I say, that probably will peek up and find the frag. Depth will take round number 7 in their first attack.
3-4 in Depth's favor, and we're... I said this in the last map, but the pressure is still mounting right now. We're getting
the opening pick, by the way.
In this one, I want to say, I swear Prophet. I think it was Prophet.
Okay.
I'm like that because Nova was the first one to die. That much
Yes.
I remember. Yeah, I'm 90% certain it was Prophet. The only guy with a P on Depth, and I somehow remembered the letter P starting out the beginning of the kill feed. Anyway. Yeah, I'm 90% certain that the only American on Depth, by the way, in Canadian Challenger League, the man who joined this team and like hoisted it by its own petard and said we need to turn some things around. It's working out pretty well for him. I know Prophet was also trying to see if he couldn't find his way onto some United States tier 2, tier 3 teams, maybe make a CL run, but I have reports from a couple of friends of mine, including Fate back when he was on the Agents roster, saying that Prophet was a man to watch out for, and so far. He's doing his fair share of kills. He's also managed to turn a team that used to be pretty in the gutter at the beginning of stage 1 now into a pretty hard-fought Depth team that, for all intents and purposes, can absolutely hold their own. Again, I will argue that it's a combination of 2 factors. Depth looking a lot better, and OCG still kind of feeling like so far they're missing the mark. They don't feel the same, and I'd question whether heading into a game against Oblivion, which both of these teams are fighting for, by the way, which one would be able to win by more of a considerable margin. It's a question I don't have any answers for.
I do know that Valors, when they were known as Valors, Depth did have a couple of close games. They took a map off PDHM and they took a map off of Axios, so it wasn't, you know, they didn't go down without a fight. They just couldn't close it out. Also, real quick, just to sidetrack, someone in chat asked me what the original Sisu roster was.
Oh no.
I'm pretty sure I remember. So you know Jonas was on that roster. Bonesy and Wilkie had been there from the beginning. Little known players, Protax, and I think I'm pronouncing this right, Kaitio Mastari. I remember that name just because it's really long, but as I'm getting sidetracked, Toasty is just gonna decide to shut me up and get a double kill. Goodbye to Nova and goodbye to Darkin, two big players on the side of Oceanus this map, but there's Kibbs with two of his own from upstairs. Goodbye Toasty, goodbye Regrets, two more excellent players on the side of Depth, and though it was a fantastic entry from Toasty, that initial advantage has slipped away and in fact has turned for the worst, as Phoenix will pick up Exod.
This is exactly what we were talking about before. You want to situate yourself upstairs rather than maybe put the bomb site up there, because you can waste so much time with utility and bodies sitting in Cocktail, because your objective actually isn't Cocktail. You have to fight for that, clear any of the players out up top, and if you were able to claim your prize of killing roamers on the top floor, you still have a second floor site execute to worry about, which in this case is reading. Something we didn't mention, the first time we're actually seeing this in play, because Depth were so adamant about not playing it on their defensive half that OCG have said, we can hold off on Kitchen for just a second, and we don't want to replay Cocktail, at least for the moment.
Yeah, and they still hold this top floor, too. I mean, Oceanus have been able to just do really whatever they want. Jammer and Prophet haven't done much to stop them. So, they'll now, I guess, try to move into the 90 hallway and maybe have some semblance of a site take. But you can see there's actually red pings because it's a bulletproof cam, so it's not like Depth can do anything about it. They'll just repeatedly ping Prophet and Jammer over and over and over again. There might even be a black eye from the Valkyrie yellow pinging these players constantly. It'll result in the death of Prophet, so Phoenix will get his second, and Jammer is still preoccupied with the player in train. You see the feet, so there will, okay, he decides he's gonna tap fire with the freaking ARX and gift Kibbs that third kill. I had the castle dead to rights there, and then Nomad just stopped firing.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, he does have the worst gun in the game, but it's almost like he baits himself, just sticks his foot out there, and then as soon as he gets hit by it, knows, yep, there's the Nomad, and then makes the swing, and Jammer wasn't able to do anything with the castle kill.
Remember when Toasty got an opening 2K? Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah.
Way, way, way back in the dark ages.
Sad.
Round one. Yeah, so Prophet was the one that opened up on that last kill. Thank you, production, for giving us the intel on that. And I think the man,
it's
how
true.
I know, but I mean, how the mighty have fallen was kind of more what I was thinking of. It's been really back and forth, but if we take a look across the kill feed right now of any of the players that were doing really, really good, especially on Villa, I don't know if it's because we were in the midst of a really long protest phase and kind of gave everyone a moment to kind of cool down. Nova is 4 and 6, whereas he had 23 kills on one map. He's not doing nearly as well as he did in the past. Kibbs has always been rocking a positive KD, so he's kind of stayed the same. Phoenix is still the story, though. 11 and 4 on the side of OCG. Yeah. He is the one that's managed to basically turn his Oregon game around and then keep that going through 2 straight maps. You're right. Villa was really where he was activated.
I think he just took a break.
Yeah, it's kind of what it seems like.
You know what, Nova? I don't want to steal your show. Just keep doing what you're doing. And now that Nova's cooled off a little bit, Phoenix is like, all right, guys, I got this. I'll ramp it back up. You know, I took a seat on purpose. Right? Now I'm going to go Super Saiyan again. So he's been doing very well for himself, but of course, Depth as a whole have still been able to catch up. And as I say that, Exod will rip the head off of. That was weird. Exod will rip the head off of Darkin and already has established co-check pressure. This is huge. He can just stay here in this tiny itty-bitty box of a room and cut the site in half with a bishop on a chessboard. There's really nothing the designers can do about it unless they land the proper shots. Phoenix will get one refrag on Jammer.
Oh no.
Toasty's looking for the kill by Whiskey. Phoenix nearly goes down. Where's Exod? And there he is. There's the cleanup we were looking for. He'll finally go down to Nova, so that coat check pressure no longer there. Damage has been done. Saving grace for Oceanus is at least they found the proper refrags.
At least for the moment, it seems as though Toasty and Kibbs is the next fight to be had, and Kibbs will be the one to win it at the bottom of Brown. There's still 2 minutes left, and already half of the players in this lobby are taken down and out, and it turn into a much tougher situation for Depth as Gooby continues to rattle away with the Alda. Prophet's taken down, and now it's up to Regrets. 6 and 5, 1 flashbang in his back pocket, and more than likely enough skeleton key ammo to carry him through upstairs if he wanted to get some kills from the top down, but we'll need to reacquire the diffuser as he doesn't have that in his back pocket, and it makes the job for Depth so much harder to do even if they do have intel up that they can use to help this player out.
I also just noticed he's rocking Buck Reflex. I feel like I haven't seen Buck Reflex for a long time, but Oceanus will just clean house. And you know what Depth did for the second round in a row that really doomed them? You want to take a wild guess?
Do I want to take a wild guess, or do you just want to tell me?
They didn't do anything about the roamers upstairs.
Oh,
they didn't do that on reading, and that's why Kibbs got the 2K.
I've heard this story before.
You have? Hey, I've seen this one before.
Wait, I've seen this. This is a rerun.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Depth. They just don't want to roam clear against OCG. I don't know if it's because OCG have an infamously strong roam, like maybe in like scrims or something, or Depth just decide that the best take is, the best path is the most direct one. But through the past 2 rounds at least, it's really bitten them, right? On reading defense, Kibbs on the balcony was the only person to bring that 2K from Toasty back in OCG's favor, and Phoenix was there to tack on for more. And then that last round as well. No top floor presence, and the defenders were able to just run around the staircases and do whatever they wanted. Now Oceanus, they're on the advantage.
They've got the advantage, but the question is, can they close out? We keep on getting closer and closer to the wire, and with a match that is literally this back and forth, I kind of had the idea, or shall we say the premonition, going into this one that we might have to force another overtime in order for this to legitimately... I don't want to jinx anything, but if this game is as close as it has been, Depth continue to win rounds every time OCG does. OCG are desperate, absolutely desperate for this to not go to overtime. They want a force match point, but if it's still this close, Nexon could still get picked up. We might look at overtime. We might be staring it in the face yet again for the second map in a row.
He was spamming the animation. That
yes, he
looked
was.
Funny. You know what else is funny? I love how the debris just explodes off the hatch. I don't know if that's like a bug, but if it is, I really hope they never fix it. This is the one site Oceanus dropped, right? This is the only site Oceanus we're not successful on because when it comes to bar, there's no roam for Depth to clear. So the best path is indeed the most direct one, the point A to point B. Let's just get control of piano and hit the site. So should history repeat itself, we might be looking at a 5-5, but of course there is one single roamer they have to worry about. And of course, he's not over, but under. It's Kibbs, playing yet again for the C4 from below, but it's Phoenix to exact his will on Toasty from the white stairs. Down goes the Ash, and down goes a major player in your entry if you're Depth, and Kibbs will still just play huddled up and reading with the Vector. And so far, Depth are just taking way too much time. There's even support from above! Darken shuts down Exod, and Kibbs, just the distraction player right now for Oceanus. Him existing has resulted in 2 deaths on death from 2 completely unrelated players.
OCG are pretty darn desperate in their own right to make sure that this one doesn't go to overtime and they can take this 1 round advantage and just run the hell away with it. 5 versus 2 as Prophets getting caught out on the red rotate, and that's almost nothing, and Nova's still there. Smoke grenades can still deny it from that angle, but at least for the moment, he thinks that there's 1 more kill he can get top red, and it's true. It's just a matter of whether they peak at the right time. Now, both Jammer and Regrets have dropped through that hatch, and trying to go for even more pressures. There goes the diffuser down inside Cigar, but finally Nova will be taken down. Gooby might be able to go back into position to grab him, but Jammer now knows his position's been given away. The crossfire angles are all over the place, and 1 more smoke to try and deny it. He doesn't have diffuser. That's in Cigar. He'll just finish off Nova, who this point is actually equalized as KD. He's no
Oh,
longer in
no
the
way, he
negative.
gets killed.
Oh, no chance! A little bit more HP from the smoke grenade, and Darkin has all the clearance he needs to just get the kill on the Maestro camp. That's not the way you want to go, but that's absolutely how OCG will force match, map, series point.
So remember when I said this site was the site they took because there was no roam to clear? Yeah, they actually tried clearing the roam this time and got slapped. Toasty, right? At first, it looked like, all right, Kibbs is stuck in reading. He's really got no way out unless he C4s his way out into pillar. But otherwise, I mean, you've got a pinch going on. There's one guy in dining, one guy coming from pillars. What's Kibbs gonna do? Maybe get a trade, but nope. Phoenix walked down white, killed Toasty, and from above, Exod was covered by the Maestro. So brilliant play by OCG to just use, Kibbs not even really as a quote-unquote, solo roamer, but more as a distraction tactic, and it worked perfectly.
Well, we've gone through most of this match without reminding you the reason why it matters so much. You got to play through your first series in Canadian Challenger League for an opportunity to stay in the running and be able to play for that relegation spot for the Canadian division in the North American League in the future. If you drop one series, that chance is now nullified. Depth are staring down the possibility now of not being able to do that themselves if OCG can clean up just one more round. Depth need 2 more to force OT. At that point, it becomes anyone's game. They did choke away, did OCG, a 6-4 lead on Villa. Depth brought it back on the attack, and this is a much more pivotal map to lose because there isn't anything else after this. This is the final straw. Depth lose bodies early. This could spell the end for them.
You know what else I just noticed?
Huh.
Kibbs was the Goyo in that distraction tactic.
Yeah.
Remember on Oregon, what they did with the roam with the freezer flank? Kibbs was the castle. So it seems like Oceanus have more than one kind of bait and switch,
I guess
roam
so.
Style.
With the same player as well. It's almost like you can have a. Is there like a position for that? If Kibbs is the kind of player that just keeps on doing that exact same action over and over again, can we just make up a new role name? Yeah,
he's the bait. Yeah, right. You got your primary roamer. You got your anchors. You got your flex player.
You got your lurkers. Then you got
That's Kibbs right now, and I mean certainly I guess the bait bites back because I mean he's 9-5 right now.
Yeah, he's one of the only members of his team that actually has a KD above 1.0. It's him and Phoenix doing the best to clean up for OCG. And at the moment, all they have to do is deny literally the next minute and 48 seconds. And this best of 3 is over. They're heading to the next round.
Well, Evil Eye, Black Eye spotted. Different kind of eye.
There you go.
And Depth will actually take the top floor. There you go. Good job, Depth. The only difference is there's no one upstairs from the defense to greet them with open arms. There's a C4 that actually gets pinged 2.0'd, and thus it will miss. A little bit of a waste of utility from the side of Nova, but fear not, OCG still have 2 more, one from the Pulse and one from the Mute. Darkin and Gooby likely going to be working in unison to find any frags they can as Depth start to move over towards the cocktail side of things. Plenty of proximity alarms going off as well to just alert Oceanus that they are moving through cocktail and working their way inwards, but so far no kills coming out just yet. You've only got a minute left in this round.
At least for the moment, it seems as though Depth just don't have too much confidence in their attack, mostly because they're spending all this time just kind of wondering and waiting if OCG want to pressure them upstairs, and there's just nothing really happening. But now they'll finally start to put the bodies down on the first floor. Regrets is the first one to head in, and Prophet will just open up a hole, and he's actually taken that Sophia roll away from Exxon, who's back on the IQ. See if they can't do... Regrets. Nope. A little bit more to the right, my friend. Ah, there you go. So much pain. Regret everything. He'll actually be able to get the Selma charge on the wall and now start pressuring from the reading doorway as Prophet has also made the drop down now, but the first kill is Kibbs. Yet again, another frag comes out, but Prophet goes for the refrag of 4 versus 2. In the dying seconds, there's only 15 seconds remaining. Diffuser has been planted, however, and Gooby will still go for one more frag. It's all on Exxon, and he has been down. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. After 3 incredible maps, Oceanus survival loss on Oregon, max point OT on Villa, and one of the nuttiest cafe games we've seen in the only decider game in Challenger League thus far. They will claim victory over Depth Esports. Move on Group B. Congratulations to Oceanus.
A momentous occasion indeed. Oceanus with the first win of the first overtime map in all of North American Challenger League. And all of Depth have dipped before we've even gone back to the menu. 13-6 for Phoenix, having a major resurgence after map 2 on Cafe, and a big reason why Oceanus were able to pull that out. But Depth, a lot of times their attacking strategies, I expected more. They didn't look up to par, they just didn't roam clear. I mean, how many times did that bite them? They didn't roam clear, and the one time they actually did, they got slammed.
Yeah, and to be fair, that seems like a pretty easy thing to go back and fix, but that was something we noticed over and over and over again was probably their primary detriment. It's not the end of the world, you're not eliminated from CL at this point, but it still doesn't look good if you're trying to avoid the possibility of relegation. Remember, OCG are now off to play the winners from the other Group B game in Oblivion, but now the dilemma for Depth Esports is they have to make sure they don't lose their next game, because if they do, they're dead last in Group B, and they will have to play a relegation match at some point down the line, presumably in March when we begin Stage 1 for the 2021 season. So you're losing out on an opportunity to go for that relegation game, yes, but now the pressure is on you even more to ensure that you have a performance as lights out as this one. Make sure you don't have to play relegations.
We just saw that 3K from Phoenix as well, a major player and a pretty key member of the team towards their success on Cafe. Both he and who was the other guy who had 10? I think it was Nova at the end. Or no, by Kibbs.
It would have been Kibbs, yeah.
I would have been Kibbs, definitely stepping up. And I mean, everyone on the roster, no one really slacking. Even Gooby had his moments, right? Well,
not nearly as much. I don't think he still didn't break the 10 kill threshold. He broke the 10 kill threshold if we combine all of his kills from every single map in one thing, but yay, we appreciate new IGLs. Yeah.
Otherwise, it just looked like the first 2 maps were close, but whereas Oceanus still looked like they had some semblance of strategy and thought on Oregon, and looked like, you know, even though it was a 7-4 just like Cafe was, it was still pretty close.
This actually flipped the script literally down the middle, I just realized. That's a 7-4 win for Depth, and then max point OT, which is still an insanely contested map despite OCG managing to win the final round, and then 7-4 again, only this time OCG are the ones winning the map. So at the end of the day, OCG claim victory, but just looking at an overall 1 round count, OCG only won by 1 round overall. That's still pretty darn close.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty close, but I feel like on Cafe, just the way Depth played didn't really look up to par. Like, I don't know if that's just me, but like the 2 rounds they won on defense was because, you know, round 1, Toasty ran around the map and 3K'd his bandit. Round 2, they just counter-peeked the vertical holes and won their fights. And then the 2 other rounds they won were I felt like just mainly off of their fragging power. Otherwise, Oceanus just seemed like, at least on the strategy side of things, had Depth outclassed.
Well, we're going to get one of the members of OCG in on this lobby to do a very brief interview after we get back from a break to break down exactly how we ended up getting in this position. We'll be right back, and then we'll sign off for the rest of the evening. Do us a massive favor. Don't go anywhere. We're back to round out the very final part of the day for day 1, stage 2 of Canadian Challenger League, by having an interview with one of the men that just won the very final game against Depth Esports. It's Oceanus, it's Kibbs. Buddy, how you doing? How does it feel to get that win under your belt?
Feels so good, Jacob. It's amazing.
Especially considering how hard you had to fight for that one. That was the first game that we actually had go to a map 3 the entire time through Canadian CL, and USCL also didn't have a decider game. What do you do to make sure that you stay super tight-knit and don't lose focus going into a decider game that's that tightly contested?
We made it clear with the boys before we even entered map 1 that the opponents might take us to map 3, and that we had to keep composure all around, because that's how you win or lose. If you lose your chill, you're not going to bring it back.
Right, no, I hear it. You guys did a really good job managing to just kind of hang in there. But something I wanted to bring up very briefly, that game on Villa, for the love of God, it goes all the way down to the wire. Nova's doing crazy stuff. It's a 23 kill game. He's just below that kill record. Were you guys just telling him to go for frags the whole time, or was it more like it really just kind of happened as the match progressed?
It kind of just happened. Nova is really built different, and that's his motto. He keeps saying he's built different, and he is. That man is nuts. We don't revolve around him getting frags. We try to maintain the possibility of him not doing so. So it just kind of happened.
Yeah, no, I hear it. What are you guys doing in terms of making the shifts from your previous OCG roster to the current one? Obviously, stage 1 had 2 different players on it. You're trying to make some adjustments this time. This is the first game you were playing for keeps because you didn't have the same roster in stage 1. So how are those adjustments working out? You won, so we would hope that they're working okay, but...
It works okay. Like, we're still adjusting, which is sure when you bring in new people. We brought those people because chemistry was just off the dome. So we're going to put in the grind and the time, and chemistry is just a blast. So we just want to keep going forward.
Gotcha. And something I also wanted to bring up, because we haven't had Canadian League streams before, we wanted to see if we can't highlight and try to figure out who these Canadian Challenger League teams are in some fashion, because we've had VOD coverage before, but we still don't really know who Oceanus is. So why don't you kind of give everyone a pretty brief introduction to how you guys got started and where we're hoping to see you go in the future?
For sure. I could start at the beginning, but it'd be a long story. I've been playing been playing since the pre-alpha and the first ever tournament Ubisoft made it when the game wasn't even out yet. Been on PC recently. Met Darkin when playing in Honor. We met Phoenix there as well. We stuck as a core 3. We found Nova and Gobi, and that's pretty much it. Nova has experience playing US, and all of us are Canadian. That's pretty much it.
Well, one of the only like full-on like straight Canadian rosters that doesn't incorporate someone from the US, if I remember correctly. There aren't a whole bunch of you guys there because everyone's like, hey, let's grab one American import and then just kind of see what we can do. But you guys didn't have to do that. You managed to keep everyone on home ground.
No, because Nova's American.
Oh, never mind.
But,
oh no,
yeah. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. US players are built different. We needed one of those. So yep.
I was going to say, all right, anything else that you want to say real quick to the fans, for anyone in OCG who's been supporting you guys throughout even stage 1 into now? Anything you want to say to them?
Yes, for sure. Thank you to everyone who supported us. Watching the Twitter predictions, not a lot of people were rooting for us. They talked a lot of shit, and I preferred letting our skill talk, and that's what we did. And they got in by technicality, so now they can go back to fight for relegations. Sorry.
I was going to say, no, you're playing next week up against Oblivion. We'll see you then. Hopefully to see you back in the interview section if you're managing to top them. Gibbs, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone.
Can't believe I flopped that. Can't believe I guess it had to happen at some point. Oh, well. No, he's not talking. It's all good. I'm just trying to figure this.
My mic was muted during the interview. Haha.
Hey.
Yeah, that was a fun as hell game. I don't know. I told Kibbs right before the interview, but you guys didn't hear it. Right after map 2, right before going into map 3, when we cut and Crater was like, "All right, you guys are clear." Me, Jacob, Ocho, our observer, and our producer Crater, all like simultaneously, we're like, "Wow, holy crap!" Like that's how awesome this series was. It's a shame if you didn't miss it, but hopefully you were here for the last moments. And like you said, it's a brilliant win for Oceanus. They had some mind-blowing stuff. Same thing for Depth. Depth, I think, even though they came away with a loss, they've definitely improved because I casted a Valor's game, I think, last stage, and they were monkeys, put it lightly. They didn't really have much semblance of strategy, just kind of ran at the enemy and hoped they won off their gunfight. So it's really cool to see them having grown. And right before we cut off the stream, if we want to take a look at the finalized bracket after day 1, we can see who plays who next week.
So far, this is what the Group B standings look like. Oblivion 2-0 over Windstorm, and the score is not totally correct. Oceanus still do grab the win over Depth, so that means it's Oblivion and OCG meeting again and to determine who heads to
there we go.
Almost that relegation game. Hey, there we go. We got the number up. Both Windstorm and Depth will have to fight in the lower bracket. Remember of the stakes in that game, the winner staves off relegation. The loser will have lost 2 straight series and will have to play a relegation match no matter what. That's how the stage works out. We obviously want to put more focus on the Oblivion OCG one. That's a higher profile game. Both teams are absolutely stacked with talent. It'll be a game that you don't want to miss, as both of these will be played during the Canadian Play Day next Sunday, a week from today. We've had a very, very full one tonight. Oh man, how do you bounce back after 2 incredible days of CL, man? This is pretty incredible stuff.
Hopefully we bounce back with even more incredible days. But I guess for now, that's gonna round out the day. All 4 matches have been completed, so next time we'll be on. Unfortunately, we don't have days back to back. It'll be next Saturday. What's the date? Next Saturday is October 10th.
There we go.
With the next matches, and that will decide who takes first in the groups and who takes fourth, and that will all start off noon EST, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's how Pacific time works, I think. So, thank you all for coming out and watching our inaugural play days for both US and Canada. It's been a blast so far, and I absolutely cannot wait for the rest of the season. Thank you all, beautiful people, for coming out and watching. Have a very good night. Hope to see you all Saturday.